and welcome back to, or welcome to Cosmo Muse Tarot. Today we have the fun reading, Year Ahead 2023. So the way I'm going to do this reading, a lot of times, like if you plug into my month readings, I really try to kind of break down the categories of life and what to expect in those different sort of anchor points of life throughout the month. And I thought about doing that for the year, but everything in me kept just saying be more organic and just kind of do a whole bunch of tarot and oracle cards and just see kind of like what story comes out, what are the threads that are happening. And the other thing that really felt resonant with this reading was I had watched, I'm sure many of you probably already know of Gem Goddess. She's one of my favorite readers. And in her year ahead reading, she did with some animal cards, sort of like where you're coming from end of 2022 and where you're going to in 2023. And I really loved that comparison. I thought it helped so much to kind of show a little bit more of a refined and honed in type of trajectory and arc that might be happening. And so I am sort of going to borrow that from her. I'm going to do an animal card, but also I wanted to plug into like, what is that thing that separates 2023 from another chunk of time, because really it's an endless cycle of time. And so why would we segregate these 12 months away from the months before and after? And to me, at least in like the Western calendar, it has to do with numerology. We enter into a different year number, which brings a different tone. And for those of you that study numerology, you probably already know this, but you know, there's a universal number for the year that gives an energy, but also that number added up with some of our own birth information gives us our unique birth information. So I wanted to tie in that arc, not only with the animals, which I feel like those animal spirits really can show us a lot about some sort of both biological but also essence of like where we're going in an arc. But I wanted to tie in some numerology cards too to kind of tap into that number aspect that really is to me the thing that would segregate a year away from any other, you know, time frame of the months and before and after 2023. So I'm going to show that arc of where we're coming from and going to with both animals and numbers. And then we're just going to do some tarot and some oracle cards and just look at different arcs in general through the year, a little bit more of like some storytelling. And just see what happens. So we've got 4 piles for you today, and I wanted to do all whitish type stones to show that kind of like fresh, new, not quite blank slate, but you know, coming in with a new tone, a new energy kind of vibrating around us. So pile 1, we've got the crystal clear quartz in a point. Pile 2, we've got some opalite. Pile 3, raw clear quartz. And pile 4, more of an earthy white stone. It's just a mineral stone from the mountains. And I don't know, I like its energy. I use it a lot. So those are our 4 piles for those of you that love the breath work that I do to help tap into higher self and inspiration for connecting to the pile with the right message for you. We'll do that now. So put your feet on the ground, feel that stability, feel the energy of the earth kind of coming up and moving through you. And then take in a deep breath and suck in air from your feet all the way up through your body up to the space between your brow, and hold it in there. Suck in a little bit more to add pressure there, and then with an out loud release, just exhale. That sort of opens up our energy centers, and specifically crown chakra, which can, bring in some guidance to help you pick the right pile for you. So let's jump into readings from here. If you need more time with this, you can pause and do what you need. Otherwise, timestamps will be in the descriptions below, and I'll see you in your piles. Hello, Pile 1. Welcome to your 2023 year ahead reading. This is you guys. You picked the clear crystal quartz point. We're just going to put your stone over here and jump into your reading. So to start, we're going to look at some animal and number energy to see sort of like where you have come from in 2022. What was sort of the energy around you that you've landed in as we head into the new year, and then we will pick from the same decks the animals and numbers again to see sort of like where you're going. So a bit of a really large arc bird's eye view of bigger picture trajectory of things. Okay. So we got frog, which is stepping into your power. Don't take a back seat in your story. It's time to step up. And then let's look at the number. 2, patience. Oh, and I love how these colors actually go together. That's really beautiful. I feel like a really calm year in 2022 was around you. Not necessarily easy, but just like simple and calm, which in some ways could have been a bit frustrating with that patience. You may have really struggled with some like inner tensions and certain polarities in your life, and just this need to be somewhat calm and diplomatic, and like the card says patient with life, and just sort of allowing yourself space to watch how you responded and reacted to things, and sort of gather information about your behaviors and the things that made you feel good versus not, and really like fine-tuning and honing your sense of what feels good to you. But I feel like it was probably a year of really detangling from certain things, and just really paying attention to certain patterns, wiring, behaviors, to help you detangle from like the frog says, stepping into your power, from reasons why you've maybe stayed a little smaller or held yourself back or had some esteem issues, or even figuring out what you want for yourself or who you are, something like that. And this says underneath the stepping into your power, it says, don't take a back seat in your story. It's time to step up. So I feel like it was a lot of patience and fine tuning of like really watching and understanding what makes you feel good, what makes you, and learning what part of yourself, you feel like you want to strengthen and really come at life with. So I feel, it feels like somewhat detached, somewhat simple, somewhat frustrating though, of like really needing to take certain time to kind of see, do a lot of observation of life so that you can get right with your alignments and your wants and your priorities type of thing. So let's see where you're going to go in 2023 from there. And I feel like that's like really, really foundational beautiful type of work to do, even though it takes that patience and effort and a little bit monotonous and stuff. But I feel like that usually gives us such a strong foundation to spring forward into. So let's see where it's going to take you. 8, manifestation. I love this because the frog says stepping into your power. And I just got the sense that it was learning about what you even identified as your power. And I feel like you're just keying into that now. So seeing that 8, which is a number of power, is where that large arc is taking you, is really manifesting that power, really walking your talk now, really standing in the shoes of your power, not just uncovering and figuring out how to step into your power and what your power is, but now starting to wield your power. So probably well, let's see what animal comes through, but I have some thoughts on that. Let's see. Raven, wise woman, a change is coming. Yeah, I love that. This is just showing like this ability. I think, even though that patience from the previous year may have been frustrating, or like something's slow or stuck almost, what it also brought you is understanding the power of patience and the power of being able to kind of step back and allow things to happen in a more planned, strategized way, and seeing how much better outcomes can come from being a little bit more strategic and thoughtful and patient with life, rather than impulsive and reactive to life. And so this is sinking in. This is now like integrated into your wiring. And this year you're really going to be stepping into that, knowing that by making plans, being patient, following through, really building on foundations, you really, start to manifest by wielding your power and by creating plans and taking step-by-step measures and really having focuses and aims and goals and and strategies in life, and really being able to see where you're going in the long term. So this is like, I really feel like this is a year of setting you up for long-term positive life outcomes. And I think, it says change is coming, and I think that change is coming, but it's because you're taking and making effort every day with little steps every single day. So it may feel like nothing's happening in, week or even month chunks of time, but as you go through the year, all of those processes and steps and thoughtfulness and foresight and the plans that may feel big and tedious and overwhelming even at times, by the end of this year, you're really going to see just how powerful change can be when you come at change with a really methodical, systematic, responsive, planning, goal-oriented kind of attitude and sort of behaviors. So really, really powerful stuff. Good for you guys. That's like really stepping into some big maturity. And I do think, we still have another simple number, or what I meant was to say single digit number. So there still is some simplicity this year, which I like, not going from 0 to 60. It's still going to be somewhat of a calm year, I think. But I think by the end of this year, it's going to set you up with those huge payoffs that you've worked, and I'm just thinking about like storytelling. When you're writing a story, sometimes those little things you can weave in that slowly develop certain tensions in relationships and events in some character's arc that come full circle by the end. And with that patience, the kind of payoff that your readers or watchers with your story, if it's like a movie or a book or whatever, the payoff at the end for doing just like really systematic weaving of things is so powerful. And I feel like that's where you're going to be at the end of 2023. I feel like there won't be like any one day or any one event that's going to be like this huge life altering thing. But then there's this like massive payoff at the end of 2023 where it's like the work you've done, it's so satisfying and so gratifying, and it brings in a certain change that you've been trying to manifest in a solid, rock solid way that is the launching pad to allow your life to really get big and really get more dynamic and complex. But it's like a building year. Yeah. So yeah, that's a huge arc. Wow. Powerful stuff there. But I'm going to say, like, that patience isn't going to need to be carried over, but in this, like, in a different way. That patience of like knowing what your power even was in 2022 and 2023 is that patience of developing your power, of learning how to be in it and walk it and use it and wield it. And then it's sort of like, yeah, at the very end of 2023, it's sort of like you're going to be established in your power. Then things can get real dynamic. So it's a building year, which is really cool. So we're going to do 6 tarot cards to kind of see a journey through the year generally, big picture, kind of what sort of energies are weaving through your year and how things progress and the ups and downs. So we start off with Hierophant. Justice. So that's no small thing. You start 2023 off with a bang with 2 major arcana cards. Let's get them all out before we go too far with them. And then 8 of Water. Six of Water. Page of Air. And 7 of Fire. Cool. Okay. I'm just gonna push these up a bit to make extra room. Okay, so moving through the year, I'm just going to look at this storyline real quick. Yeah, so I'm feeling like moving into the front end of this year and thinking about what we've already talked about as like the big arc of the year. And so plugging in these cards in relation to this. There's like, I feel like there's some mentorship to be found in the first few months of the year that can really bring you sort of that guidance of, talking about really stepping into learning how to wield your power. I think that, yeah, there's some mentorship coming in early in this year of someone who can really guide you with that, who sees your power in the way that they're seeing your power because you've now been able to recognize your power with the work you've done in 2022. And it's like finding the right mentorship of someone who understands that kind of power, and that can model to you ways in which that kind of power can be used effectively in the world. So yeah, really seek out, and even if that's not like a literal mentor, there may be like books or videos or some inspiring thing that happens, or some system or process you plug into that has really valuable tools. Whatever it is, there's something that's going to anchor into your life in like the first couple months of the year that are really, really going to show you and model to you and help you to understand what you need to do with your power, how to use it, how to make goals with it, how to channel it, and just what it can do for you. So looking for some modeling here, some tools, some guidance, some keep an eye out for that, and be open-minded, because it doesn't have to be a literal physical person in your world. It's always great if that's the case, because that gives us so much access and really honed in and specific to you kind of guidance. But if that's not something you feel like is coming through, just be open-minded about recognizing that. It could be information coming to you in other ways, modeling coming to you in other ways, other information resources, other systems you get plugged into. So really, really powerful for stepping into really learning how to, and being modeled, things being modeled to you, of knowing how to wield certain things you have now recognized are tools and powers you have. Moving a little bit further into the year, not quite mid-year, still early, but moving on from that mentorship, this is now about starting to walk the talk a little, having seen some mentorship, some modeling, some understanding of what could be done, and identifying targets and goals. It's now like time to kind of step into this and start to, like, it's something that will then begin to change the shape of your life as you start pushing this outward in your life and using your power a bit. And I think that it's going to throw off some balances for you, but there's like a new, like, really pay attention to the sensitivity to this power that you have, that you're stepping into. Power, authority, whatever that means to you. Because it has a sensitivity that you haven't had before, that will show you how to retune your life, reharmonize things, because it is going to start changing things little by little. Not like big, because we saw in the largest arc thing that it's not like huge things are happening at any one time, but it's like, as you change and you start walking in a different energy, little things, and little by little everything starts changing. And it's sort of like March, April time, you start to feel those changes, and it's like you now have to rebalance, retune, reharmonize your life. And so it's like getting more dynamic and tapping into a new sensitivity that you identify as really being able to be a little bit more dynamic and retune, reharmonize things to be a level up in the kind of balance and resonance your life holds. So really stepping into it's like this trickle down of changes and things starting to vibrate differently, and knowing how to work with that. And very cool. And then when we get a little closer towards mid-year, springtime, I think the appreciation of, I don't know if that's quite the right word, the accumulation of all the little changes suddenly adds up to a place where you recognize there are certain things in this new resonance that you have that don't work anymore. And it's going to be a time to walk away from some things, and it's going to have to be your choice. And so, it tugs, typically these are things that we've treasured and that mean a lot to us, but just aren't plugging in the same way anymore. So this type of card comes with kind of this split feeling of sort of excitement to up your life, to realign to things that make you happy and recognizing certain things that are no longer fulfilling, but also having, a lot of deep detangling that has to happen, and some grief and sadness around letting go of certain things that have, a lot of memory and beauty around them. But it's just time, and you'll know that, and it's just time, and it always comes with like that inspiration of, knowing something more aligned is coming that gives you kind of the courage to do the walking away from certain things. Yeah, and then you go right into this time of nostalgia about it. So something about this is actually really going to haunt you. The mid-year of 2023 could be emotionally tough, as all of these different changes in your resonance and this elevation of your power is playing out and doing really gorgeous things. It's really changing, though, some things that feel haunting, that feel nostalgic, that are definitely hard to let go of, that have been beautiful, but also maybe hold a lot of baggage. But yeah, there's something you're going to be having to step away from and really do some detangling work, and some work about what about these things are haunting you, and how can you confront that and put those ghosts to rest and find some peace with leaving certain things behind. And then by the time we step into late summer and into autumn, like very end of summer into autumn is sort of like this, it's a rebirth. This is like where you really see the potency that you've developed, and you start to truly stand and embody this power. So you've worked on identifying how this power can be used, into starting to walk it and seeing those resonances change things, having to deal with the changes that actually brings into your life. But then when we get to the last third of the year, it's like, it's just rebirth, and all of a sudden that power you've been working with and identifying and trying to stand in and understand, it's like it's now just in you. You just embody it. And it's bringing a lot of new energy, new passion, and specifically ideas and mental command in some way. And it will feel like a rebirth. It's going to really feel like, you're just going to be standing in your power, and it's going to open up so much opportunity. And ending with the 7 of Fire, it's also going to open up a certain amount of willingness to stand front and center as a leader, not just stand in your power, but stand as a leader in your power with the strength and courage and confidence of any sort of competition you're going to have to come up against with this, and this knowing. And I love that there's a unicorn on this 7 of Fires specifically. It's like just this inner knowing that you belong as a leader amongst this very competitive thing area, whatever. But yeah, you're standing in a very competitive place by the end of the year, but in your full power and in a full knowing that you deserve and can and should be there. It's just really special. And I love, really ending on manifestation for the year. It's like, yeah, you just really manifest as a real unique and creative force with your power in the world by the end of this year. So super cool. Okay, let's pick a few little more mystical Celtic cards to add some nuance to this arc and story going on. So we've got the herbalist, herbs, medicine, and healing. And the way I want to interpret this in the context of what we've already done in your reading is sort of like this this knowing of how to step out of trying to be something in any artificial, synthetic, masked version of trying to be powerful into just a naturalness with your power, and it feeling like a healing balm to feel natural in your power. That's how I'm kind of reading this. And along with that naturalness of being, I think there is some literal healing that could come, and, listen up to the plant allies in our world. Like maybe the exact right kind of herbal remedies present themselves to you because of the change in tone that you have, that also support some physical strength and power to match that inner strength and power coming through. Then we've got Gwyneth, mother, nurture, present. And I love this coming on top of these middle of the year cards that were a little bit more emotional and kind of this time of letting go of things. And I think it's, mid-year, it's a time to step into your power in a way that's very nourishing and nurturing to you, and recognizing that doing things for your feminine side, for self-care, for self-love, for self-tenderness only supports and enhances any power you're trying to encompass and really wield in your life. So that finding that a path to understanding how tenderness works in this new empowerment you're really stepping into. And yeah, a certain gentleness, a certain tenderness, a certain self-care priority is really deepening your power. Okay, and then the last one, we've got divination guides, tree spirits. Look for, and I love this coming out with both the raven and this page of air that has these big, huge wings. And, the unicorn is a little bit of a mythical type thing that can be associated with some sort of messenger or guide. I do think that there are going to be some very spiritually sourced messages coming to you, inspiring you, supporting you. And so just be very open to guidance that feels like it's coming out of nowhere and that's divinely orchestrated. Just be very open to that, grateful towards it, And spend some time in nature, specifically where there are trees. There's something very grounding and channeling about that energy that can really connect you with some sort of guidance and inspiration coming through, and even prophetic knowings, I think, coming there. But very, very spiritual energy around you at the close of the year. So not only are you kind of stepping into this rebirth as like very embodied in your power and manifesting big change and authority and abundance in your life and leadership, but it having a very, very spiritual resonance to it too, that's has kind of a sacredness to it. So really gorgeous stuff. Okay, let's look at a few more oracles with that. Get a little bit more about maybe sort of like the landscape a bit. Pleasure. Yeah, that's beautiful. As you're kind of, doing that work of stepping into and trying on this power, stay connected to what feels good to you. Again, with that naturalness, what's natural, what feels good. Don't try to make this power different or bigger than it is. A lot of times that's, power is like one of the most corruptible things there are. And so this is saying like a way to make sure that doesn't happen to you and you don't twist it, or you don't let it get twisted in you, is really staying close to what feels natural and pleasurable to you. Okay. Protection. I love seeing this come through with this more emotional mid-center of the year, when you're going through a little bit of like walking away from some things, some haunting of emotions, some nostalgia that may feel both sweet and difficult, and going through that kind of mothering yourself time. I think the universe is going to orchestrate that you have some space in the mid-year to do this. There's some protection that's going to come around you that's going to kind of keep out the chatter and the busyness of life and a lot of demands for you to be able to deepen and do some of this more internal emotional work. So a lot of protection coming in there, which is gorgeous. Okay, more of these. Yeah, I mean, you can't make this up. Leadership, and we already talked about that's what you're going to really be settling into by year's end, is stepping into their some sort of leadership power. So own that, know that it's sort of in your stars, part of your natural organization, to be stepping up as a leader at the end of the year, and really feeling embodied in that as something that you can command and confidently hold within you. It's just now integral and part of you. So yeah, I mean, pretty straightforward there. Okay, so we're going to move from sort of this general story arc of what's going on to looking at some archetypes within you that may be developing within this storyline. We've got Liberator, freeing yourself and others from outmoded beliefs, releasing negative thought patterns. So, there's something, as you start kind of feeling that modeling come through, and really figuring out how to walk in your power and test that, and seeing how it's sort of changing aspects of your life. This is giving me the sense that the things that you're going to have to let go of. Even though they're going to be difficult, I think there is a big layer over the top of it that will feel like a huge release, will feel like some of these things have really been holding you down, and even though they need some grieving, you definitely recognize that you've kind of broken out of some molds that have contained you and kept you small, kept you not as free as you should be, not as bold and free thinking as you should be. And yeah, there's this release here. So I think on a lot of levels, it's going to feel good, even though there's going to be some things to grieve. It's going to feel very freeing. Okay, oh, that's a nothing card. Let's see. Scribe, preserving knowledge and information. That's so beautiful. And I did have an inclination to say it, but then I got distracted with another thought. So I'm glad this has come back around. That as you're doing any grieving and sort of this time of needing to step away from things that are just like no longer aligned or fulfilling in your life, a really beautiful way to work through some of the nostalgia, some of the grief, is to record that, to write about it, to talk about it in like memoir type fashion, or journal about it, or just kind of record things about it in a way that you can go back and revisit and tap into that emotion anytime. And, you know, so yes, you're leaving it behind in your going forward day-to-day life, but you're not leaving it behind in the sense that it's part of your history, and it has a lot of things that have, you know, connected to how you've developed, and memories and experiences, for good and bad in your life, that by writing about these things, you can always go back and feel them the way they feel in you this year. Revisit that memory of them as potently as they're felt. Okay, and then we've got Thief. And the light attribute, it says, shed light on the potential wealth within you that can never be stolen. Oh, I love that interpretation of Thief. Yeah, I mean, it aligns very deeply with everything we've already talked about in this last third of the life. It's just sort of like you're suddenly just embodied in this power that you've been developing and trying to walk with and build your life with. And it's like, yeah, what really empowers you and emboldens you to step into leadership with this is this like sudden knowing that like this is no longer something I'm trying to develop or bring out of myself that's a little bit fragile or a little scary or a little intimidating. It's suddenly just like it's so integrated that there's no way that this can disappear now. It is part of you, and it's like you just step into that solidity of it by, you know, the last third of the year, which is so beautiful. Okay, we're just going to get a few wisdom cards about these little angel feather messages. Got White Swan, the power of divine grace is within you. And I love seeing that with everything that's going on, with really feeling that modeling and starting to walk the talk. And as those changes are happening, it's going to be very graceful. Sometimes that liberator kind of archetype can be a bit outlawish or outrageous. And this to me is like that liberation is a little bit more of an elegant, graceful thing that comes through you. So that's beautiful to see. Then we've got Magpie, reevaluate your priorities. It is time to let go of what you no longer need. I mean, real time, you can't make this up. It's everything that we've talked about in this mid part of the year. Certain things need to, priorities are, and this sheds more light on it. It's just like priorities are shifting. And so certain things are just, no longer holds, a strong place in your life. And it's just time to move on from certain things that have downshifted in priority. Okay, last message. We've got Loon. Pay attention to your dream time. Messages of guidance are drifting in, and we've already gone over this. This is going to be a very, as you really integrate and embody that power and step into, that confidence and command of your leadership. There's something very spiritual around this too, that, you have some beautiful messages and guidance surrounding all of this. And I think it's just like your vibration is so pure at this point in its new tone that it's just attracting in that spiritual help, like moth to a flame type of thing. Okay, just a couple more general cards. Blessed. I love that. Yeah. This change, this arc you're going through, you're doing it in such a graceful, mature, thoughtful way. And it's going to do nothing but make your life more sacred and feel more blessed. And so showing and space and thoughtful, conscientious time with gratitude, I think would be a huge, huge thing for you this year. Yeah, building blocks. We've already talked about this is a huge building year. And even though certain things you've built are ready to kind of be knocked over or walked away from, what you're starting to build now is so much more stable and so much more just bigger and more beautiful, and just such a huge step up from what you had built. And then round and round. This is, to me, because we've got the spiral of creation here, this is just showing to me like the last confirmation with this storyline archetype is like you have leveled up an octave. And so even though life comes in phases and is cyclical, it also moves forward, and that's what the spiral is. It's that linear move forward while we kind of go round and round and round. And so this is just like you've gone up a level. It's just a new octave of life that's starting to unfold for you guys. Okay, to end this reading, I'm going to pick a plant ally from this sort of balance plant and balancing deck. I don't remember the actual name of the deck. I think I lost the box. But it shows patterns of balance and unbalance in us through this plant ally to kind of help keep us on a balanced path through the year. Okay, so for you guys, it is Heather. So when you're out of balance, these are some of the things that will show up. Talkative and self-absorbed, overly concerned with one's own problems, unconscious usurpation of others' psychic energy. When you're in balance, inner tranquility, emotional self-sufficiency, and positive solitude, which is really beautiful because I do think it's going to be a year of a lot of changes. And so there may be this need to get a lot of, connection with friends to talk through what's going on. And I think this is just trying to point out that you have a lot more inner resources and self-soothing resources than and that's part of the power coming in. So just be balanced with the way you connect with others, and don't flood them with all the things changing in your life with every interaction you have. Make sure you're also downloading the things happening in their life, even though it can just, and this can happen to the most altruistic of people. When there's a lot of things changing in one's life, you need a lot of time to process that with people, but make sure you don't get lost in that you don't recognize what other people are going through. So just being really present to that other people also have changes and needs for processing, even if it's not, big things aren't happening for them. And that you have a lot of self-soothing and ability to kind of take care of yourself and honor those changes in maybe kind of personal ceremonial ways that are beautiful, where you can kind of really take care of yourself through these changes. And work on some inner tranquility, some breathing, some mindfulness, and find some solitude to do this, and to do some of your own processing. Like we saw with the scribe, I think writing is going to be a beautiful way that you can do some of that processing, so you don't overload others with the processing that's going to be needed from you this year. Okay, and then I want to see what kind of this is the Quan Yin card. She's sort of a goddess of compassion. And I like to call on her to just bring some quality of guidance through the year. And so I thought I'd share that with you guys and pick a message from her and some kind of guidance and protection she wants to hold for you throughout the year. So Shining Lotus. And I'm going to read from the book for this, if I can figure out what I did with the book. Here it is. Okay, so 26. Oops. Keep skipping over it. Okay. And it's a full page of text, so it'll take a minute, just so you know. Okay, so there are times when it makes sense to be discreet until you find your inner strength so that you feel empowered enough to share your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs without wavering, even in the face of challenge by another. At other times, we benefit ourselves and others by taking a risk and allowing the inner lotus blossom of our true self to shine forth for all to behold. Have you been hiding in the spiritual closet, beloved? Sometimes it makes sense to avoid sharing your thoughts and feelings about spiritual beliefs and other personal matters until they are clearer in your own mind. However, there are also times when hiding your deepest truths away from the world will no longer protect you, but actually hold you back from living your divine destiny, shining the lotus light of your own soul and walking your path in the world. This does not mean that you have to make a grand announcement, unless that is something in your heart, but it does suggest that there is something within you that you could share with another or be more open about in your life more generally. It might be a talk with a loved one about some significant feelings that you've kept to yourself, or beginning to be more open about your beliefs and your abilities. Once you put your energy into the world, you magnetically attract like-minded souls into your life, which will then encourage you to share yourself even more. Don't worry if there are those that seem to be challenged or threatened by your beliefs. They don't have to have the same beliefs as you for you and them to be safe and loved and on the spiritual path, which is unique for all of us. You and others can benefit greatly from staying true to your heart and at the same time being open to the fact that they will have their own truths that may differ to yours, and that is just the way it is. You don't have to convince others or be convinced of anything yourself. All you need to do is listen to your own heart. If there is something that you have been holding within, you are guided to listen to your heart for the right time and the best way to share it. Let the lotus light of your own heart, your own soul, your own inner truth shine openly, beloved. Be gentle with yourself and know that you have a right to be here on this planet in your own truth, and that no matter what the response, whether a response of affirmation and love or a response of discomfort, your truth serves the greater good. Trust in the strength of this lotus light shining. It is more powerful than fear or doubt. It will light your way more deeply onto your spiritual path of peace, purpose, and power. Yeah, so this power that you're stepping into, this light, is like a light you're needing to shine. It may be something that feels vulnerable to you. So it's going to initially take that courage. And so I love that the anchor point coming into the year was this Hierophant, which is having some kind of model of knowing just how to do this. I think something like that can give us so much courage and confidence to just step into certain things that we've felt some, reservations about bringing forward. So yeah, that is your reading, 2023. Wow, much longer than I anticipated, but I guess that's what this reading's needed. And I just sort of let spirit go where it needed to. So, but it is a big reading. It covers a whole year. So I'm good with it being almost an hour. Anyway, this is where I'm going to leave you. Happy 2023. It's a gorgeous path that you are embarking on. Love the arc. I love the archetypes coming in. The energies is quite an impressive journey, so good luck on it. And if this resonated, I always appreciate thumbs up and comments, all the things. So yeah, hopefully I'll see you in more readings coming up. Hello, beautiful pile 2. Welcome to your 2023 year ahead reading. You guys, sorry. I have a little bit of a cold, so I'll probably cough a little bit. If this is you guys, you picked the beautiful Opalite stone that we will just put over here. Okay, to start off, we're going to get some numerology and animal cards to see the top level bird's eye view arc that you're going to be doing this year. So looking at sort of what got established for you in 2022, the energy's really prevalent there, and where you are then, like the trajectory of where you're then going in 2023. Okay, so we're going to get a numerology first, moderation, and Bat, listen up. You are working through deep soul patterns. Release any outdated beliefs that surface. Yeah, what I'm getting from these cards is sort of, it's been like a year of really redoing your foundation and kind of fine-tuning maybe rhythms, what's important to you, the shape you've wanted life to take, and having done a lot of listening, observing, listening, taking life in, it's like an update. It's like a really big refresh of your foundation that's come through, that you've made space for, and kind of noticed the patterns and reworked some of the patterning in your life. That's pretty cool stuff. And it did require you to I'm so sorry. I need a sip of something. Kind of take a step-by-step approach to life in 2022. And so like a really moderate, approach to things. Okay, let's see what you're doing in 2023. Change. Okay. And then an animal. Sloth, digital detox, recalibrate, reset, recalibrate, reset, recharge in the change. That's interesting. But what I love about this is I initially, when I pulled this card, was like, oh, this adds down to 5. But then as I was sort of looking at moderation and the numbers, I'm like, I actually don't want to add that down, because I feel like the most pure message here is about the redoing of the foundation. And so I love that then what comes out of that afterwards is the 5. And I think you've been doing that work because you've wanted a big change in your life. And the way I'm going to read Sloth about where this year is going and what this change is about that you're now going to start pushing into this year is about having a more natural life, and I think that's where that moderation came in. I think maybe you've come from sort of a stressful path, whether that's sort of stressful jobs or stressful family scenarios where you've held a lot, but like holding like too much on your shoulders, whether that's work or home or whatever. And really recognizing like this need for change that allows your life to be a little bit more peaceful, a little bit more calm, a little more balanced and holistic, and that gives you just a really well life, a well-balanced life, room for not just life being work or life being any one thing, but room for life to flourish in many ways and be diverse in many ways, and having the space to allow life to be a little bit more whole. Time for family, time for friends, some work, some travel, like just like a really well balanced life that's very a life that allows you to feel recharged and alive, kind of thing. And I think your way through that has been done in a very, changing things from the deepest foundations up. So it's been a slow process. And I think this year it's still, as you step into having kind of rewired and reprioritized, the changes are going to take place, but I think that they are going to be still, that methodical thing is bridging over throughout the year of like, this is a change. The kind of change you're looking for is not a reactive change. This is like a really foundational change. And so it needs to be done methodically, systematically, with process. And so it's, a slow going thing, but this is the year where you've created the foundations to start little by little by little, seeing all those changes really integrate and manifest. Okay, we're going to do some tarot to see kind of a story journey through the year. Page of Earth, that's a beautiful first one. Four of Water. 8 of Air. King of Water. Emperor, wow. And Queen of Fire. Ooh, these are some somewhat big deal things going on here. Okay, so I think stepping in to the new year, right away you're coming in with this attitude of like, this is the time. I am ready for the foundations I've rewired, repatterned to really help me initiate, help me to invite the new, embrace the new, be bold enough and courageous enough to really shift certain values, to find new values, to attach to new kinds of values, which in turn kind of start to change some initial shapes of how your life is manifesting and looking. And then, so this is the first couple months. And then there's like a 4-month process after that initial sort of assertion, spark, initiation into these changes. I'm so sorry. I feel like I should have waited till this cough was over. There's going to be kind of this pulling back time. And I think that connects into that sloth and that, taking things slow. And I think it's going to be sort of this thing of like 2 steps forward into change and then 1 step back to kind of, change when you're doing it on the foundational level. You want to do it right. And so it's not as being unafraid of going back to redo certain things if all of a sudden they're just like a little bit misaligned, because these are changes that are taking you 10 years into the future. So, a few months of like redialing is not the end of the world, and it will really be a good thing. And this redialing that you'll kind of be stepping kind of back into some things you've done some initial changes with, or certain changes that have been made. It's sort of like this need to meditate on how you're on a soul level are connecting to things, and really listening to your intuition, and getting out of your mind. There's certain trappings going on in your mind that the only way past them is through intuitive listening and trust in that intuition, even if it doesn't make logical sense. It's like allowing yourself to get a little bit wild and even destructive, not in like a reactive way, but if your heart and your soul on a deep level is saying like, I really laid some certain aspect of my foundation for these changes in a way that I don't know how they go forward, or how to build on this, how to create change around it. But I don't know what else to do. It's time to just listen to it's not working, so it's time to uproot it. And once I do that, maybe then I will see what it is that needs to be foundationally done then. But I can't maybe know what that is until I uproot a certain thing that I thought was right. And so just like trusting that, like, even if you don't have the foresight or the knowing of what you want to do to rewire or why it needs to be rewired, if it's not working, to still just uproot it, to still just toss it out and trust that by doing that, then the answers will have space to come through. So it's going to be several months of that process of this, and some big initial initiation and changes you've made. Yeah, it's just like you're going to have to, not all of it, but there's an aspect of it that's going to trip you up, and you're going to have to go in and dig it back up, sort of like the metaphor I would use is like you're re-landscaping part of your yard, and you put the garden in a certain area, and suddenly you realize that that area is not capable of getting a certain water or light it needed. It wasn't fully, there was like a little piece that wasn't thought through. You thought you had thought everything through, but there was something that was a little bit impulsive with it. And you don't know where you can move this garden to because the rest of the yard has already been landscaped and you love every aspect of it. But you know that garden's not going to work there. So it's just time, even though you don't know where to put it, you tear it out. And then all of a sudden when you tear it out, you recognize like, oh, hey, that sitting area over there would actually really work well right here now that I see this space bare. And then you move that and all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's where the garden should have been. Like it will work out. And so even though you might not see initially what to do with that change you're needing and that foundation you're creating, it's just like, you just have to trust your intuition. Like, well, this is, even though I can't see where to go with this, it isn't working where it is. So it's time to uproot it. Okay, so then when we move to the midpoint of the year, it's like things all of a sudden, because you've been patient enough and willing enough and brave enough to redo some of this change, foundational change effort, you step into your power, and the rest of the year is just bang, 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 bang. New frequencies, new openings, new shifts through your emotional body start to present themselves. And you just like really get in sync with yourself emotionally. And then that helps you to just drop into a full kind of command of how to order this change, how to command this change, how to really organize that change and feel a lot of clarity and focus and determination and assertive quality around that. And then you end the year stepping into this Queen of Fire, which is so beautiful. It's like your creativity comes to life, your ability to be fierce, to say yes to the things you've been dreaming about, to recognize that the changes you've been working towards and wanting and that have felt very slow going and like, is this, a futile effort, are all of a sudden right in front of you, and your heart and passion meet that boldness that it demands of you to take that step to say yes to some change that is so profound and great and exciting and bold, like really stepping into your boldness and saying yes to it, and finding that the fertility of it, the nourishment of it, the belonging to and the home within it. Super gorgeous. Okay, we're going to pick some sort of spiritual kind of Celtic cards to see kind of on this more spirit level things going on, a level, one notch under the surface here. Okay, Fawn, beginnings, willingness, opportunities, yeah. The Gatekeeper, power and abundance. And then the White Stag, shape-shifting, support, other world. Yeah, how I'm seeing this is really powerful. And I've definitely divided your year up in a very different way to what I did with pile one, where there's like this short, it's sort of, this is the way I've divided the year up. The first couple months, beginnings, willingness, opportunities, exactly. Like, I love how these almost sort of like mirror each other too, these sort of tree antenna type of things going on. So it's sort of like you are really open to the inspirations coming through, the messages coming through, and there's a willingness there and an eagerness there and opportunities happening, and I think some really initial, not in a bad way, but like impulsive actions taking place, and kind of a whirlwind of initial changes that go on. And then as we step into this sort of rewiring place, it's sort of like where you step into a little bit more maturity with all these changes and how you're going about doing the changes, in recognizing that, you know, the foundational importance of them, and how by creating the changes in the right way, they are the gatekeeper to the life you want. And so it's like having that dragon's eye, that determination and the willpower and the follow through to be like, okay, this has, these changes have the potential to have this really impactful, very long-term effect on my life. And if these changes are kind of the gatekeeper to that, even though this is going to be incredibly frustrating, I need to find that clarity, that determination, and the follow through to go back and redo some of these things the right way, because the gate that I'm creating, that is the gatekeeper to what I'm creating, has the potential to bring me a lot of power and a lot of abundance, but only if it's done in the right way. So I need to have that determination to go back in and redo some of this so it is correct. And yeah, but this is showing that you have that within you. You have the energy, you have the determination, you have the intelligence, the smarts, the fortitude. You have the resources and the focus you need to do this. So this is just sort of a confirmation that yes, you need to go back and do some of this over. But you're gonna do it the right way this time. You have a lot more clarity, a lot more foresight, and a lot more maturity in that process. And then coming into this last half of the year, the white stag, shape-shifting, support, other world. This is the stag to me is the thing that kind of brings the new year from the dark up into the light, and it has a lot of strength, a lot of leadership, and a lot of connection to the other world with its antlers. And we've already seen that in that first part here. Like there's a deep connection you have to other world messages, receiving antenna like. So the last half of the year, you know, the first part is about these initial changes and like just kind of being excited and shaking stuff up. But the last half of the year, this is about stepping into your power in these changes and really, really having the courage. So often, all of us always crave change in certain ways, and we talk about it and never figure out how to do it. And this stag is showing that there is just like a huge amount of courage and focus and determination to walk your talk, to step up to that change, and to like a shape-shifting quality that is going to happen around your life and even you And that strength you have is sourced from the other world. So to keep that channeling, that openness up, because it's really directing you and really kind of distilling you with the strength you need to do the shape shifting you've been desiring. Wow, super powerful. Okay, let's look at some landscapes around this kind of setting. Ooh, that one kind of flew out. Potential. Yeah, the first couple of months of the year is all about seeing these potentials. It's exciting. You could just kind of barge into it, I think. But look for the greatest potential. What is the greatest potential you're looking for, and just like go for it, Don't worry that you're going to have to redo some of it. That sometimes that initial spark is just needed to push into life and to create a bit of a mess, to shake things up. And then community. So when you get to the rewiring part, I think you're going to have a lot of help around this. And maybe that's what's bringing kind of that clarity and that willpower to go back and redo certain things. Is a certain, support systems around you, or it could be that these changes that are being made are leading you to more aligned kind of community and diversity in your life. And so that focus on what that deeper desire is also gives you that resolve. And then blessings at the end. That's so beautiful. Yeah, these real, the last half of the year I think is just going to be so stellar for you guys. And it will feel like a spring, like there's just new color, there's new, that potential renewed, but in a more mature way of just like already being able to see it, and just feeling very, very blessed. But you're the one that put in the effort. You're the one that manifested this. So even though it feels very blessed and almost gifted to you, you're the one that put this in motion and did the legwork here. Okay, now that we've looked at kind of this journey through the year, I want to look at some archetypes within you that this journey kind of brings out and does a little bit of developmental work on within you. So the slave, surrendering your power of choice to the divine with complete trust. Maybe some of these initial changes coming through, where we did see the antlers on two of the cards here, do feel sort of divinely orchestrated. And so this to me is saying like, don't, and again, that impulsiveness at the start, I think it's meant to be. That's part of this process. And so this is saying like surrender and trust those impulses and those openings and possibilities and opportunities that come in. Surrender to not having a lot of mind and control and strategy here. Kind of, just give your power over to these potentials and openings that are coming over, and just allow them to kind of infiltrate your life. Then you've got the pioneer, passion for doing and creating what has not been done before. And so that's another, because this archetype is being pulled out of you in this second portion of the year, I think part of why you're having to kind of rewire and redo is like you are doing something that there's not really modeling for. And so that does take some experimentation. Something very new is at least to you, something pioneering at least to you. And so, it takes sometimes, when we pioneer things, so often we do have to retrace certain steps. We go take the wrong path that leads to an impasse, hit this, hit that. You know, you don't know, there's no guidebook of what's up next. So sometimes you have to backtrack to find the right path forward. And so that's what's going on here, is like, you know, a lot of backtracking, because you're doing something that's very new, at least to you for your life. But leading, you know, pioneer energy, really leading you to very, very different frontiers. Oh, that's a nothing card. And then shapeshifter, we have shape-shifting in the wild stag, and then again, and this says skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness, ability to see the potential in everything. And so that's like just another clue about the kind of shape-shifting going on, is like you are stepping into a different quality of consciousness, I think. And that just shifts everything around you, and you're really stepping into a regality and a command and a confidence. And yeah, that's really cool. Okay, let's get, I meant to do these a little further down. Just a message to go along with each of these archetypes kind of coming out this year. Let's see. Oops. Got Cardinal. Stand tall and proud. See the leadership role unfolding ahead of you. So I think from the very start, when these opportunities and potentials come that you get a little impulsive to and just surrender into, it's sort of like a foreshadowing of some leadership you're going to be stepping into with all of these regal, you know, king, emperor, queen cards coming the last half of the year. So pay attention to that foreshadowing, and yeah, just step into it. Be initially impulsive about that, and just be like, just say yes, kind of thing. Like you know, just like improv, you always say yes. Just say yes is what's being asked of you. Okay. And then Kingfisher, prosperity is flowing. Have faith that you will receive it in the perfect form, which mirrors this, the gatekeeper, where there's power and abundance. I think this initial stuff, you know, is a little bit impulsive and exciting and fun, but then you all of a sudden are like, oh, these changes are actually really have a lot of fortune around them. So I need to go back in. That's, you know, part of that recognition and willingness to go redo some of this in a more methodical, foresightful way, is that all of a sudden realizing, once you're into these changes, like, oh, these are much more than I had the impression they were, and they hold some really potent potential for prosperity. So I need to go back and do this right. So I think that's where that comes in, is like a recognition that all of a sudden, like, oh, I didn't realize how big this was. Let's do this right. And then we've got Goose. Your dreams and desires are calling you to action. The journey begins today. Yeah, last half of the year, I mean, you are shape-shifting, your life is shape-shifting, that change really comes in, and it's what you've been dreaming of and putting a lot of energy toward, and sometimes I think you're going to have to pinch yourself, and it's going to be an exciting journey. Really cool, beautiful journey. Okay, a few last cards with kind of this archetype stuff. All that glitters. Yeah, and I think, you know, coming out with this first part, I think things are sparkly and fun and exciting, and there's just so much potential, but that's another clue to me about why some of this will have to be rewired, is not all that glitters is gold. And you're gonna, all of a sudden, when you have this recognition of like, realizing, you know, maybe you've snatched up all these different opportunities, but all of a sudden you realize like, well, I can't do all of these. And some of these are not actually potent or interesting. But I didn't even realize, look at this mask that's actually made out of real gold and emeralds and this and that. And I need to really focus in on that and kind of weed some of the other things out and build foundations around this thing. And yeah, it's just like, yeah, going back to take out the fool's gold is what's going to happen. And it's fine. Chase some of that fool's gold initially. It's going to be part of this process. Treasure Island, yeah. And you'll recognize once you've collected the real treasure and the fool's gold, what's real, and you'll be able to go back through and methodically sort that out and organize it right and build around it correctly. But it's something really way more of a treasure than you would have imagined suddenly kind of being there. Oh, beautiful. And then we end here with a leg up. Yeah, this last half of the year, you're really that shape shifting, that change, that stepping into your command. It's suddenly like, I think you've come from many years, if not a lifetime, of feeling like, how do people get that leg up? How do I progress? How do I build the life I want? I'm just trying to keep up. I'm trying to survive. And suddenly, you know, at the end of this year, you find that feeling of like, oh, I now do have that leg up that I've always wondered how you get. I have it now, and you've worked your ass off for it. I'm going to just tell you that. You deserve the leg up that you get, so embrace it. Okay, we're going to end the reading with a plant ally and a goddess blessing type of thing. So this plant ally, it's a balancing, like a tuning fork for your year that shows the plant that gets picked. It gives us wisdom about when you are working in an imbalanced way versus signs of when you're working in a balanced way. So unbalanced and imbalance. I hope that is clear. So you've got oak. So the patterns you'll see when you are not imbalanced during this year will be iron-willed, inflexible, over-striving beyond one's limits, taking on more than one can inwardly sustain. And so I want to go back to this sloth of like, you know, initially that biggest arc thing we looked at initially was sort of like this need to have a balanced life, to have a well life that has not only one or two things as a priority, but a full life that has a lot of things. And so there is something here about learning how to not take on more than you can handle. And so just like really remembering that in all of these things, especially in this rewiring part, even though I feel like it's going to take some effort and willpower, try to stay with that energy of doing things in moderation and methodically and giving yourself still space to have a life beyond what you're redoing, or still do that rewiring in a balanced, moderate way. So when you are in balance, the patterns that will show up are balanced strength, accepting limits, knowing when to surrender. Okay, and then the last card is a blessing from Quan Yin, which is a goddess of sort of compassion. And I'm going to read from the book for her to bring, the best full message from the card. So Spin the Silken Thread Divine is the one that you got. It's number 30. Okay, and this is like a full page, so page and a half really. So buckle in. In creating precious silks, there is a sorting process, sifting out that which is broken to find that which is precious and pure. We've talked about this. You are commencing a new cycle, beloved, and it is time to allow for that which is more precious and pure, that which you wish to take with you into the future, to continue and to release that which does not align with your true heart. Sometimes we need to help ourselves access the new cycle by releasing vows from this or other lifetimes, releasing old emotional patterns and calling in wisdom and talents from past lifetimes. You are guided to accept this healing now. Your past is calling to you. It is calling to be cleared, to be released, and for the beauty and power of the past to be claimed in the present moment, woven together like a precious rare silk. All the experiences, mistakes, adventures, and successes of your past in this and other lifetimes have given your soul plenty of material from which to draw its wisdom, like fine silken threads being woven into a beautiful fabric. It has had to grow in awareness, light, capacity, and love in order to be where it is now. You are being guided by Quan Yin now to realize that your past is nothing to be ashamed of. Even the worst mistakes that you may have judged yourself or others for have been opportunities to really grow in love. The precious silk could not be formed without the really rough layers of the cocoon within which the pure thread is spun by the silkworm. So too have you been able to weave something truly beautiful within the experiences of your life, even those which you no longer need to carry with you as memories or scars. There comes a time to extract the pure thread and cast aside that which is unusable. You are at a point, beloved, where you must choose to empty out old emotional baggage and take forward with you the gifts, skills, and wisdom and talents you have developed throughout many lifetimes, that you may move into a new cycle that is calling you forward. Sometimes that can feel very unfamiliar and cause us some anxiety, as we do not have the old emotional or behavioral patterns to hold on to as we go through life. Yet there is no need to be fearful of this process, because you release the old, a beautiful new pattern will be emerging from within you. You will have new emotions, new ways of being available to you, born of your past experiences, but not limited by them. Quan Yin, mistress of spinning the spiritual silk, is with you, and the process can be filtered with peace, joy, and love. You will feel the lighter for this process and more able to be your divine self in all parts of your life. So beautiful. I mean, that totally aligns to everything we've seen. Total new cycle coming in, real change, and ones that you've been working hard for, apparently over many lifetimes, and that are very deserved. So that's where I'm going to end your reading. Happy 2023. Good luck on this gorgeous journey through that year. And if this resonated, I always appreciate the thumbs up, comments, etc. And I hope to see you in more readings. Hello, Pile 3, and welcome to your 2023 year ahead meeting. Looks like I forgot to light my candle. So interesting, if you guys picked this pile as well as those who are picking pile 4, I was sick when I started this reading, as well as up against a kind of a deadline. I was trying to leave town, and I still had to pack to get out the door early the next morning, and I just kind of hit a wall, both with time and how I was feeling. So the pile 3 and pile 4, you're getting a very different me reading this. This is like 3 or 4 days later. I've been on vacation. I feel a little better in terms of my cold. I'm still coughing a little, so I apologize. I probably, will have moments where I have to cough or clear my throat. It's just where we're at. But anyway, I do read these things as signs that, like, maybe pile 3 and pile 4, your year ahead might be a little bit more, I don't want to say better, because I think pile 1 and pile 2 are beautiful readings, but just like a lighter feeling, I guess you could say. A less rushed, a lighter, something lighter around it in general. Okay, we're just going to put your raw crystal, clear crystal quartz over here and jump into this reading. So the way this is starting off is I'm going to get a numerology card and an animal card to kind of show over the past year where you've ended up, like what kind of energy has been around 2022, what have you been working on, and then we'll do the same for 2023 to see the arc of where you are coming from and where the year is taking you in energetic wise. Okay, that one wants to come out. So 96, forgiveness. This one wanted to come. And Tiger, divine timing. Good things come to those who wait. And tigers to me are a very feminine, I mean, all cats have a feminine aspect, but this is a very lunar oriented big cat, a cat of prey, really being able to be patient and stalk and pounce on the right timing. So there's something here in 2022 where, and I'm looking at the 96 and how those two numbers are sort of like mirrors of each other. I think you started out in 2022 sort of ending something, or in a little bit more complexity around something, or yeah, that's, to me, that's where the forgiveness, there was something that you entered 2022, the past year, with some kind of complexity and some sort of baggage and some sort of really deep need to find forgiveness, probably both for your own handling of things or internal turmoil or emotion, as well as some people maybe in your lives. It just feels like a lot of baggage, but you've come through 2022 really having gone into, I really think you've gone into a deep, dark place over the past year in a good way, in a way of really observing and understanding, like on the soul level, what you need, what makes you happy, and how to find some sort of resolution with that, some sort of acceptance with that, some sort of simplifying things down to be a little bit more rhythmic, more in tune and align with who you are and what you want, and able to then enjoy sort of more beauty in life in a more simple, scaled back way in something. And I want to say, whatever ebbs and flows there have been of complexity and then simplifying, and maybe some waves of complexity simplifying, you've done a really good job of really observing that and checking in internally with where you need to go and how you need to navigate with all of this. And so I do think that you have gotten, coming into 2023, into this place of like a deep ability to hold forgiveness. And to me, forgiveness is more for you than for, you know, if there are others associated with this forgiveness energy around you. And it may just more be towards yourself, but either way, it's something for you to be able to move on and start focusing on your future and what you want, and not being held down by baggage. It's not saying that everything that's happened is okay, and that that there shouldn't be accountability on other parties if there's been some damage done in any way. It's just saying like you needed to get to a place where you were able to start thinking about your future and moving your life forward for you. And I think you're coming into 2022 in that place, but also still in this like deeper dive mode where you're really looking into the shadows and the subconscious and, you know, coming into figuring out that harmonizing of what you want deeper down within you and really talking to your soul. So let's see from there where the arc of 2023 is going to be taking you. And we've got 33 coming through, with communication, which is beautiful. I'm actually going to push these as far up as possible and over. And I love that both of these cards add down to or reduce down to the number 6. So when you add 9 and 6 together, you get 15, and then 1 and 5 together is 6, and then when you add 3 and 3 together, you get 6. So overall, from 2022 to the end of 2023, there is this thing about coming into a place of being able to find balance and peace and harmony and figuring out your rhythms. But this is a much lighter year. The 3, 9 and, the 9 can be quite heavy. It holds a lot of complexity. And then going into the 6, there's something mirrored there of like I already talked about, coming from complexity and kind of scaling down a little bit to find that more simple way of being, but there's still complexity in that of like, what's my rhythms? And I think this year, coming out of this place of having found some ability to cultivate forgiveness and compassion and whatnot, there's just like a lightening up of mood that comes through that's getting you to come into more of like a butterfly mode where it's more about having a little bit more fun, moving around, experimenting, being expressive, and through that really finding the right matches. So your 3 quality moving you around, really able to attract to you the 3 quality. So it's like this, where this is like the mirrored image, this is like a twin flame type of energy. But they're still both having this doubling effect here. Where a lot of mirroring was needed here, and here it's a lot of attracting in by being really authentic to your expression, a little bit lighter with life, finding joy, finding ease and a little bit of excitement, and indulging in that, bringing that more of that to you and alignments around that to you, and really finding deep connection, deep community, deep connection, communication, really feeling alive this year. A great year to learn things, like take classes, a great year to get involved in anything in community, to be with friends, make new friends, heal certain things with siblings, but whatever it is sort of like bringing people and understandings and information and connection to you that are on the same level, that are as healthy as you are healthy. So that's something to think about. However healthy you are and what you're able to express and the joy you're able to feel, you're gonna get that back in exact equal. So that should calm any fears you might have about welcoming in by being a little bit more open and social, more hurt or whatever might have lived in this space. And just knowing that it's your energy is going to attract very like energy to it. So really getting into a space of being as healthy as you can be for all these new alignments coming in. Let's see what animal comes out here. Dolphin. It says Atlantis, healing wisdom is surfacing. Stop and listen. Yeah, and I think it's just like you're really going to feel a lot of healing around the things you're aligned with, the things you feel connected to, your own sense of identity, your own sense of who you are and what's your highest potential and your highest good and your highest desires, your highest wants. And really, yeah, I mean, deeply finding some healing and some lightness and some beauty around that, and an ability to kind of go through moments of really being engaged and light and fun, and then being able to pull back and witness how your attitudes and behaviors are pulling certain things in, and being able to then adjust, and just like more and more healing and awareness and enlightenment and upliftment coming in. But kind of, it is sort of this tuning fork that you'll be able to use all of these different new alignments coming in to be able to get a good grasp on where you are in your own mentality, health, highest connection to self. Yeah, so a really cool trajectory here. Okay, we are now going to pull 6 tarot cards to kind of, now that we have this largest arc over the year, we're going to pull 6 tarot cards to kind of go through the journey of the year from start to finish, to see some general energies that are going to kind of be present and you know, just illuminate a little bit more the type of journeying that is going to be taking place on the ground level. Okay. I think I'm going to separate. These two feel very aligned. I've been kind of breaking up the 6 cards in different ways depending on what comes out. Kind of giving chapters to the year. Ace of Earth. Okay. Yeah, I'm breaking this into thirds. So, first third of the year, there's going to be a lot of movement, a lot of, like I felt with this card, that sort of like alignment and knowing of how your head and your heart, your spirit and your soul align and what they need, which is giving you sort of this propeller ability to really move life forward and feel sort of in command of that. Feel like you have a little bit more control of where your destiny is headed than you had in the past year. And that feeling really emotionally healing and soulfully healing, really establishing some roots, really feeling a sense of, like a new sense of security that you're able to really charge into and create beautiful foundations that give you that security to kind of charge forward in life with new resolve, a new surety, a new just deep connection with how you want life to feel. moving life, like an ability to move life through you in a new way where things have felt sticky and stuck and complex. It's just like this new clarity coming through. So the first third of the year, a lot of movement, a lot of new sense of security and stability and ability to bring people and things together, and really, just feeling you have this special touch and able to affect things in positive and beautiful and harmonious ways. Coming into the mid-year is where you're going to have the most sticky kind of place. So while charging forward and really establishing new growth and foundation in your life is going to feel good, it's also going to, by mid-year, you're all of a sudden going to be like, oh my gosh, I've got so much on my shoulders now. Like, I may have overdone the growth a little. And it's going to be up to you, because this is a general reading and a collective type reading. Some of you may thrive with being able to juggle a lot of things on your plate, hold a lot of pressure and responsibility and stress. And some of you, not so much. Maybe that's something that in 2022, as some things are scaling or paring down, you're going to have this moment of like, oh my gosh, I thought that I really simplified things, but I've done it again. I've made things really, I've created a lot to hold on my shoulders. So either way, you'll be feeling some pressure, some stress, and some of you will enjoy that, and some of you are going to have to kind of do some more weeding again and rethinking what are the priorities, how much do I want to hold, how much, how full exactly should my life be. Maybe that simplicity, that scaling back was not the right choice, and so this feels better. And some of you might be like, oh, I need to go back. But it's going to be like this tuning fork moment mid-year of really really determining just how much stress you want to hold and responsibility you want to hold going forward. And it's going to be, you have the power to change this mid-year. So allow yourself to feel it, allow yourself to analyze it and step back from it a bit and determine what's right, because you're going to have the power to refine this, to tweak it, to figure out what feels good to you balance-wise. And likely some pressures coming from the greater world, like a bigger place in the world too. And really, it's a really big window for you to find exactly where it is that you feel like you fit in a way that's beautiful, and where you can impact things beautifully, and where you feel aligned and belonging and balanced, and that you bring more positivity than you do negativity to the spaces you're in and the things you're holding responsibility for. So yeah, a little bit of a tuning fork time to really see where the highest potential is for what you hold responsibility in and where you contribute in life. And is that feeling right? Are you contributing things that feel beautiful? And it's just a tuning fork time to kind of get that right, to either really step into a lot and holding that and finding your kind of uber in the, not the spotlight, but in the realm of holding a lot of responsibility and being around the public a lot and groups a lot and really holding court in big ways, or kind of scaling back a little bit again and and just it's going to be a feeling thing. Like, really listen to your gut. Ask yourself very direct yes no questions as you do some tweaking and refining about how much you are stepping into the greater world. And you'll figure it out, but it's going to be a little different for each of you, so I don't want to get too, I'm going to keep that a bit higher level there. And then the last third of the year, you really find your power. You find your heart's song. You find that, with the double 3 influencing a lot of this year, there is this light touch. There is this thing where I think you're going to do a lot of different things and end up not committing to all of them. But the last third of the year, after you've done that playing, you've done that experimenting, you've tried certain things on, you've refined and tweaked what feels right to you, all of a sudden it's like you find that thing your heart actually commits to. And this is where the double 3s then add down to that 6. And you really start to weave certain rhythms and really step into a bold, courageous place and ability to step into life with equal measures of intuition and emotion versus intellect and kind of more reasoned being. You're going to be able to find such alignment with what your heart wants that you're going to be able to get all of these things in agreement and really find your backbone, find your courage, and really step towards something that may feel big, it may feel scary, but you want it, and you're going to have the strength, the courage, and the kind of constitution at this point to really say yes to something big, say yes to something your heart is just like so eager for and so desiring of. And there's a lot of potential here materially. It's, to me, a very new thing is coming through here. And I think the last couple months of 2023 are really going to be where you see the potential of something. So even though you're kind of like finding that deep commitment, finding that thing you want with all of your heart, it is kind of also stepping into something very new to you, and it will take courage. It will take knowing that you're stepping towards a new journey and something that you're going to have to work hard at, learn new things about, step into that beginner's place, but you have such a beautiful foundation under you. And it's just, I think it's really going to feel like this. I'm just looking at the picture of this either stag or elk, I'm not quite sure which it is, and the light behind it. And I feel like it's just going to feel like that, like this new opening, this new awakening of what your soul and your heart wants for you. And even though it's, you're going to be a newbie in it in some way and having to start from the ground floor, I think that it feels good. It feels light. It feels expansive and filled with potential and something you truly, truly deeply value, which means it holds a lot of power for you. Okay, let's get some sort of spiritual messages from these Celtic pagan cards about these 3 touchstones. So this first third, the green woman, feminine, nature, oneness. Yeah, and both of these cards are very connected that initially in the tarot we drew, are connected to the sign of Cancer, which is one of the epitome feminine signs. But I love this adding in of nature. So really getting in touch with being a little bit more in the sunlight and the moonlight, in touch with, where I am, this will be during winter. So getting out into the winter scenery and the rhythms of winter. And I like oneness coming through here too, because winter to me has that energy of really being able to kind of detach more from life and plug in more and more to collective energy and then cosmic energy, where that we get a much better sense of that oneness and how small and insignificant we are and our problems are, and how connected we all are on such a deeper level of understanding consciousness. So I think it's going to be a very mystically feeling first third of the year as you're finding these new solid foundations that are allowing you to kind of move forward and move towards the things that make you feel good and moving life through you. You'll just like step into that feminine aspect of like being able to understand the cycles, life in a cyclical way, understand life in a communal way, understand life in a very deep way, ability to go into the dark, to destroy what's no longer, what's corrupted, what's rotting, recycle it, rebirth it. Just like this deep understanding of the cycles of life and how to use them, and really giving you just a beautiful soft way to kind of move forward and move into charging into life in ways that feel a certain way versus look a certain way or have a certain expectation, just like really feeling life. Okay. We've got standing stones, ancestors, gateways, sacred. Yeah, so some of the things you find on your shoulders in this mid part of the year, where you're suddenly holding more responsibility, you're in these bigger spaces of, contribution to groups or to the world at large, holding a lot of, responsibility, maybe career-wise. These things that you're going to find yourself doing, I think a lot of them come through like, whether you're aware of it or not, like maybe even it could be even as close as parents or grandparents, but if not, I think there are some ancestors down the line in your lineage that have had very similar wiring to you, that there's like DNA links that give you certain abilities and skills and ways of aspiring, things that you master. And I think you're going to feel that in the mid part of the year, that the things you suddenly find on your plate and that you're doing in this bigger way are kind of like in your DNA. And so it's now your turn to decide how, maybe these things are deeply wired in you, and you kind of find yourself here just through patterning that's happened and conditioning that's happened through your lineage that you're either aware of or not. But this is your chance to decide how you want to do it for you. How do you want this to look for you? So maybe I'm an amazing entertainer, and that's deeply in my lineage, but a lot of my ancestors were kind of swallowed up by the system and controlled and really burned out or manipulated, and you get to decide now, because this is so deeply entrenched in you and something that you hold already maybe a lot of mastery or natural ability with, how you want this to feel, how much of yourself you want to give to it, how you want it to feel. I think you're going to have some control here, some kind of sovereignty to kind of dictate the terms you want. You know, but it's like a little opening. So if you don't take advantage of it, you can fall into the same trappings that ancestors have. So you need to be like really on your toes in the mid-year and really conscious of creating intentions around, goals around, and clarity around how you want your place in the world to feel and the types of things that you are contributing to the world to add to the world. Yeah, so, you know, pay attention mid-year, because you're going to have more command and say so over this than you think. Okay, last third of the year. We've got sacred waters, deep healing, emotions, pilgrimage. I love that. And seeing, you know, the dolphin is sort of this watery animal too that talked about healing. And I really think you're going to end the year feeling so much more healed than you did coming into 2023. To me, this says that 2022 really could have beat you up in ways that were rough. And the work you're doing through 2023 and the ability you've come into starting the year of at least trying to be open to kind of this compassion and forgiveness place, as that kind of weaves into your year and you start to kind of do for you what you need to do for you and move on and think about your future, little by little, just like you're going to come into such a beautiful emotional place by the last third of the year. The last 4 months, really. So starting September-ish. And this is, you know, we're a year out here. Well, I guess 8 to 8.5 months out here to getting to this point. With this pilgrimage and seeing these dolphins moving at Atlantis here. Right now, think of somewhere you would want to go in the fall, in the ending third of 2023. That's like calling to you. I think there's something healing in a place that you could visit. And it doesn't have to be elaborate. You know, if you don't have a big budget or a lot of time off, maybe it's just something that's a 5-hour drive away from you. Or if you have the time and resources, maybe it's a really unique, abroad type thing. But I want you to think about like a landmark or something, a setting. See what comes up to, you know, naturally as I'm talking about this, what comes up. Is there a landmark? Is there kind of a setting you see? There's something healing in a place that you could go in that, you know, from sometime between September and December of 2023. Okay, let's look at some landscapes. Speaking of, around these different thirds of the year, different trimesters, I guess. Purity. Yeah. This makes me feel like this water energy that's so present with the Queen of Water and the Chariot being associated also with Cancer, a water sign, that this is a more wintry water though, like a more still water that's allowing you to kind of rejuvenate, purify, dissolve. There's certain things that just need stillness, that just need to fall away through that stillness. And a little extra rest, a little bit more time out in nature anything you can do that's rejuvenating is really going to help you to move forward and really feel those deep foundations that the Chariot wants to bring in. And then we've got the two colored eyes with the wolf here, the blue and the green. Yeah, I mean, I just think that there's a lot of different kinds of, I feel like there's intuitive knowings coming through. I feel like your heart is really ready to speak to you. And I also feel like there's sort of spiritual messages being channeled through you at this point. So that ability to like touch into those rhythms of nature and to find more stillness and find more rest is really allowing these deeper things to communicate within you. And they're coming from, you know, you're getting information, both masculine and feminine, and giving you just like a clarity of sight, a determination, just this knowing. There's just like a knowing coming through, but you need to give it space. Okay, midpoint of the year. I love seeing thriving for this because it felt, you know, it's felt a little stressful for me, the cards that came out. But I did bring up that for some of you that might feel good. So maybe that's, you know, for more than some of you, maybe for the majority of you, that feels good. Maybe whatever this baggage was from 2022 sort of took you away from your excellence and mastery in the greater world, and you're kind of getting back to that and finding, you know, plugging in, and it's bringing a lot of responsibility, but that's, for a lot of you, maybe something you thrive on and exciting. But that's not to say that this shouldn't be a time that you should pay attention to how you want that to feel to you and do the tweaking you need to do to make it as beautiful, as the right kind of pressure, the right kind of responsibilities, the right kind of sovereignty within whatever you're doing. You have the whatever it is that you have is indispensable with what you're doing. So you have the say-so of how to rhythm and pattern this into your life in the way that you want it to feel. And notice those feelings of where you feel you're thriving and where you feel you are not thriving. I think that's a good actual touchstone to fill into. Are you thriving with this much on your plate? Are you needing more on your plate, less on your plate? Where is that level? Where is that threshold of where you feel like you're thriving? And that is what you should be fine-tuning and harmonizing through. Okay, and then the last third of the year, we have action. It's just like, yeah, movement. You've got that new opening. Your heart is really strong and passionate about something, and it's just time to move forward. And I still love that pilgrimage coming through here, that action too, of like visiting somewhere, going somewhere that that's speaking to you in an assertive way, or that might channel something about your assertion into you and your passion. But it feels like passion, you know, you end the year with a lot of passion and a lot of real clear knowing of how you're growing, why you're growing, what you're wanting to expand into. And although you may be a beginner at whatever comes, just that assertive willingness and eagerness to just jump in. So very cool. Okay, we are now going to look at another level within this journey, which is what kind of archetypes, as you go through this journey of 2023, is it going to kind of bring out in you? We all have a gazillion archetypes within us. So like, which ones is the year bringing out in you to do some development and work with? And I'm going to just continue with this, going in thirds. Angel, helping those in need with no expectation of return. And I love that with the forgiveness card here and the tiger, which is a very, feminine thing. I think a really beautiful way on that archetypal level, if you've kind of been listening to this and being like, I don't know how to get into that forgiveness space. I know I need to, but that feels a million miles away. That complexity is still really hard for me. I think one of the biggest ways that you can do that is by dropping into this archetype where you are serving others that have nothing to do with the baggage you hold. Who in your community, whether it's people you already know or organizations that need extra help, where can you donate some of your time and be of service and step into recognizing how much power and privilege in some area of your life you have that you can contribute, and that all of a sudden just showing you how insignificant some of your things are in the grand big picture of the world. I think there's something about that. Helping those in need with no expectation of return is really going to help you to drop into this energy of forgiveness and then allow that foundational, intuitive ability to move life through you and start to dream of what you want for you and move past whatever the complexity is. Yeah, really cool. And then we've got Messiah, serving humanity with humility. So this may lead as you decide to go out and help in the world, or help someone or something needs something you can offer. I think you're going to drop even further into that and really feel this connection of like where I can make a difference in the world in a bigger way than just like helping a couple of individuals or whatever it is. Like all of a sudden seeing like I have this skill set, I have this talent that I could be doing something so much bigger with, on the level of humanity, beyond the level of a few individuals. And so there might be something with whatever comes in this mid-year around like taking on a bigger role in the world and thinking a lot about what you contribute just finding how you serve the greater world, how you serve the future of humanity, what it is you can do to make a difference in a bigger way, and making your life sort of mean something on that bigger scale. So it's really cool to see. Let's see, that's a nothing card. There's a few like blank cards in here to create your own archetypes. I should have weeded those out. And then the last third of the year, we have hero or heroine, passion for a journey of personal empowerment. And I love that matching with how this portion of the year felt like you're really connecting in with your heart and this new opening into this new possibility. And I think it is like this new journey that you're about to set out on by the end of this coming year. And it is about empowerment, and it is about tapping into that. There's something here about going somewhere. The journey. It's not just it is an inner journey. It is a journey of doing something new and exciting, but there's some sort of actual going somewhere journey connected to this too. But yeah, you end the last third of the year, the last 4 months of the year, just like really setting out towards something. Different for all of you, but really stepping into some new sense of empowerment, which is exciting, and setting off somewhere to something, and going somewhere specifically to be part of that, or to have been inspired by that, or going there to inspire something. Okay, last little thing with we have one more oracle after these with the archetypes. Loyal heart connected to the angel. Yeah, I think the more you can like drop into your heart space and help from a place of heart, be of service from that place of heart, being of service and helping where you know you can help, I think is the thing that's going to start to anchor you back into your heart and back into finding some sort of loyalty to your heart, where you may be coming from, you know, if there is a lot of complexity around you and a lot of things to forgive, you could be sitting in, you know, some really tough emotions and some really even dark emotions, but this is what's going to anchor you back into your heart, is the helping and recommitting to the loyalty to your heart versus all of these other difficult things that have been living in the shadows and that have felt like a lot. So yeah, by helping others where you can, you know, where you have the power to help with, you know, again, in a service-oriented way, that's the way to drop back into a really much more positive outlook and being able to recommit to your heart and let some of these other difficult things kind of dissolve and leave them behind, and being able to think about what you want for you. But you need to get back into your heart with, you know, dedication and loyalty. Clean it up. Yeah. The pressure you're feeling here, I do think, the way I want to read this thriving is like going back to that, like using thriving as your measuring stick in terms of how much you put on your plate, how you design what you're doing in the greater world. And once you figure out that scale where things feel good, how much you can hold versus think you need to weed out, when you find that place of thriving, it is going to bring out this need to clear something. I think you're going to take on, more. I think the majority of you are going to take on more than feels good for that sweet spot of where you thrive. And so you are going to have to reweed some things out, and there's going to be some house cleaning as you tweak this area, this middle third of the year. Also maybe a place of like where you really are able to move on from some of the complexity of 2022 and just kind of sweep it out with the old, in with the new. I think both cases, out with the old, in with the new, but also how do I want this, this mastery in the world and what I'm contributing to feel, and what do I need to take off my plate? Yeah, this is a whole fine-tuning thing. It's a lot of organizing, a lot of separating wheat from chaff, a lot of spring cleaning, and so that when you get to the last third, you're just like really revved up and ready to go and very clear. And then serendipity, I love that. So coming into this last third of the year, just like I feel like a lot of clarity and a lot of knowing of what your heart wants. And that's where I feel like serendipity does actually come in the most, is like when we're really clear about things. Things just start to line up and things become more and more serendipitous. And that's just a sign of like how clear you are and how aligned you are to your clarity and looking forward. And so watch for those little signs coming through. Okay, we're just going to get some general messages for each of these 3 portions of the year. First one, we've got white turkey. The power to heal the earth is within you. And I even take that as the power to heal yourself. Like, we are made of earth. We are 3D things. It's, yeah, stepping into the year is really, the first third is really about getting back into your heart, doing what you need to do to find your inner knowing, to find your heart, to find your intuition, to connect to how things feel versus how you want them to look or seem, what feels good to you. There's something about this. It's within you. The power to heal is within you, but you need to pay attention to that. What is in me? What feels good to me? Yeah, okay. We've got Crane. You will soon enter into a beneficial partnership. Luck and longevity bless this union. Well, that's new information there. So maybe what you step into in terms of this, you know, because this to me is about like stepping into position, into contribution, but like place in the world. So there may be an other or some others that are really important to this, that hold the keys for you to step into this place of your power, your capabilities, your mastery. And how beautiful to hear that whatever that is blessed. But remember, you have more say-so during this part of the year than you think to make this as big or little as you want, hold as much pressure as it feels right, that still allows you to feel like you're thriving. And I actually like seeing that partnership. You know, when we find really aligned, beautiful partnerships, we're able to each hold parts of the load there. So that might be part of this fine tuning is, you know, really coming into a partnership where you're figuring out who best holds what and how you can make things easier for each other by really playing off of each other's strengths and both sharing the weight of responsibility. That might be part of what all this fine-tuning feeling is, at least an aspect of it. Then we've got Crow. Universal laws and truths are now being revealed. Use this energy to create your reality. And I do think that last third of the year is this time of creating a very different and new type of reality. Okay, we are going to end with some bigger messages. We're going to pick a plant ally with this card that shows through the wisdom of whatever plant ally comes out, which we've got honeysuckle. Patterns that will reveal themselves when you are in balance versus out of balance. So when you're out of balance, nostalgia, emotional attachment to the past, longing for prior conditions which seem more appealing. So something that has, you know, all of this complexity, and we've talked about like you really are going in a new direction and growing in different ways. You know, it's a challenge to do that. It's a challenge to move on from complexity. It's a challenge to drop into forgiveness. It's a challenge sometimes to think about what's the best thing for us in our future when there's so many shadows that we're having to deal with. And so a pattern of that will show up if you're leaning too much into not letting go and finding that forgiveness and just really figuring out how to move forward is some nostalgia. Yeah, I think things are changing in such a deep way that they can't be the same and they won't be the same. And that might feel difficult, but the encouragement I can give here is that what feels like is coming is so much more aligned, even though it's going to be very different. It feels positive. It feels like your heart speaking to you in a way that you haven't felt even in the positive things of the past. So patterns that will present themselves when you're in balance, being fully in the present, acceptance of current life conditions. Yeah, I mean, this all makes sense to me. Okay, and then I'm going to pick a Quan Yin blessing for you guys this year. She's a goddess of compassion, which is so aligned with this forgiveness card. and something she wants to kind of bring to you for the year and gift to you and watch over you with. Okay, so the dance unveiling is the one she's giving you guys, and I'm going to read this from the book, and these usually are like a page, so buckle in for just a minute. Okay, the dance unveiling. Often what we think we know is only a small part of the bigger picture. With some more information, what we think is the truth can shift, sometimes dramatically, and reveal a completely different reality. Sometimes we really imagine a situation, person, or place to be all that we think or feel that it is, only to find that it's not quite that way after some time and involvement has passed. There is an important situation in your life right now that is still unfolding, and you have yet to perceive it fully. And that feels like this complexity, this baggage. It is safe for you to be patient and curious and trust what you feel is unfolding now. Don't rush to set things in motion, to form a structure, or even make things concrete until you've had a chance to be clear about this situation or process. There will be a time in the near future when you will realize that the graceful cosmic dance of Quan Yin has unfolded and a veil has been lifted. At that time, you will realize that you are seeing much more clearly and accurately than you have previously been able to do. Only then will an appropriate course of action or non-action be clear to you. Trying to apply effort or create results before that time will not cause the unveiling dance to unfold more quickly. Be patient and trust, beloved. And that's what I felt here. Like, there is something about patience, about resting, about tapping into the inner you, the inner needs, the inner desires. Let's see. Try to apply effort or create results. We already did that. Be patient and trust, beloved. Quan Yin's dance of divine grace will touch this part of your life and bring you clarity. Go into your heart and listen for the music of her dance. This oracle is also confirmation that something you have recently perceived or will soon perceive is accurate. This perception may have been something of a surprise, shock, or stretch for you, and perhaps you are not quite comfortable with its implications as yet, and so you are doubling the veracity of your vision. Be patient and allow yourself to get used to the new truths that are revealing themselves to you now. The dance of Quan Yin's grace brings not only revelation but also opportunity and resolution. So I hope that brings encouragement to you guys. I feel like that's a beautiful blessing for what we've seen here, of really finding resolution with whatever this is and being able to find revelation about where to go next and what you need and want. And yeah, so beautiful. So yeah, this is where I'm going to leave you guys. What a journey coming up. This feels really big and really exciting. And I just want to remind you about the 3-3, about that 3 energy of trying to move around, trying to lighten up, trying things on, trying new things, trying to feel more plugged into life in a light way, little by little, as it feels appropriate. And I think, you'll find these new beautiful alignments coming in that are going to be really healing. And I think you're going to end the year feeling very different about life than you feel going into it. So anyway, that is where I'm going to leave you guys. If this resonated, I always appreciate the things, thumbs up, little comments, and of course, subscribe if you are not yet. All right, I hope to see you in more readings in the future. Hello, Pile 4, and welcome to your 2023 year ahead reading. You guys picked this beautiful kind of off-white mineral stone. We're just going to put that over here. And I told this to Pile 3 as well. I am since you saw the intro, it's been a few days. I still do have a cold, but I was sort of like hitting a wall with my cold when I started this reading. And not only that, but I was also hitting a wall with some time frames I had. I was headed out of town and still needed to pack. And yeah, I just hit a wall both with my cold and trying to get ready for a trip. So it's been about 4 days since that. I had gotten through pile 2. So pile 3 and you guys pile 4 have a slightly more refreshed version of me. Still a little bit of a cold, so I apologize. I'll probably cough a little bit during this and have to, like just now, take a little sip of water here and there. But it is what it is. This is just lingering forever. It's not quite wanting to rid my system. But anyway, that being said, these things I always take as signs too. So there's something about pile 3 and you guys pile 4 where I feel like the year maybe a little bit, I mean, reading 1 and 2 were very beautiful readings. But there may be, I don't know, like a slightly more relaxed or uplifting tone around you guys for the year versus the first 2 piles. That being said, let's just jump into the reading and see what we've got. So I'm going to pull a numerology card as well as an animal card to represent where we're coming from. Maybe some insight into how 2022 went, what was being worked on or through or toward, and so that we can get a jumping off point of like kind of where you're at going into the new year. And then I'll do the same thing to show a large arc trajectory of where the year might be ending. So the jumping off point and then the energy that we'll be working toward to end 2023. Okay, so jumping off point 46, domestic harmony. Beautiful. And squirrel, spiritual maintenance, be your own caretaker. So 2022 feels like maybe a year where you really spent some time getting things in order. One thing I want to point out, which is interesting, it makes me feel like there's something in the collective then about this, is that almost all of these readings have had an element of the 4 energy in it. So there's something about overall, universally, I think, going on about really taking care of our foundations. Yeah, anyway, but for you guys, I feel like 2022, you're coming from having done this in a really beautiful way and having created a lot of rhythm and organization and systemization and harmonizing and beautifying something about your home base, about how your life runs, about your day-to-day, about how you feel secure. And I feel like you've been really busy with that squirrel energy too. I've just been like really busy, really, but in like an eager, happy way to just like get your ducks in a row, get organized, really cultivate really beautiful foundations in your life. So this is kind of where you're coming from. I'm going to keep it as simple as that. We'll see, maybe as cards come out, it will end up being a little more complex than that. But for right now, that just feels good. Like you know how to take care of yourself. I feel like you're going into 2022 like knowing the best ways you need to self-care, that you can take care of yourself, and how you want home to feel, how you want your rhythms to feel. Okay. 85, follow your dreams is where we're going, which is such a beautiful, I mean, there's been so much with every pile about like establishing these strong foundations in order to like really create some change or some forward movement in life. So it's no different for you. But what I would say for you guys is, I believe, let's see, no, last pile 3 also had some complex numbers, but pile 1 and pile 2 had pretty simple numbers, and you have very complex numbers. 46, 10 adds up to 10, and then you reduce again to 1, so 46, 10, 1, and then 85, 13 to 4. So both cards add down twice, and no pile has had that. Even in pile 3, where there were some complex numbers, one of them only had to be added down once to get the single digit. So you guys are coming in, I think, like the strongest group. Like you're in I want to say you're in like a really good place coming into 2022. You've done some really thorough due diligence to create some kind of stability in your life and rhythmic aspect to life that's created kind of these patterns around you. And so now you're coming into 2023 with this ability to feel that security that you need in order to reach, in order to shoot for the stars, in order to push out and push your boundaries and really show yourself and the world what you're made of and dream big. This is a year to dream big and hit for some home runs. Like really go for it. Swing as hard as you can. Swinging for the fences. And then we've got rabbit, sensitive soul. Strengthen your boundaries and cut cords. I do love reading rabbits as very sensitive, artistic type animals. And so whatever your dreams are made of, they may be very soft, they may be artistic, they may be gentle, but you may also feel a little bit of fear around them. Rabbits are an animal that they're one of the bottom of the food chain in terms of mammals. They're very much so prey, and so they do hold a lot of anxiety in them. But they also hold an immense amount of fertility in them. I'm sure you've heard those idioms like breeding like rabbits kind of thing. So there's a lot to pack into the rabbit metaphor or energy. I feel like the stability and the well rhythming you've cultivated is creating this ability to really feel the fertility of creation and artistry within you. But I do think that you are sensitive souls in general, and so the things you dream of that your heart is telling you to follow, I think you're still holding some fear around this and some maybe disbelief in your strength, in your deserving, in your level of confidence, level of capability. And so I think these are things that you're going to have to work through in 2023. So like the good news, you're in a great place to launch off and have some real stability under you to bat for the fences and reach for your dreams. The difficult news is you're going to have to really, really work hard at deconditioning some fear and walking into and through some fear about just how prolific and capable you are of kind of being successful in a way of like having to be seen and having to hold that responsibility of succeeding in dreams. I think there's like a fear of success here. That being said, this is what the year, and I think your own heart wants of you. So I think it's a year where it's time to really confront the fears, and you have all the strength, you have all the capability, you have what it takes, and it's just walking into and through certain layers of fear that have held you back and are holding you back, and dealing with that and seeing just what you're made of, and just how beautiful that rabbit energy is, and how indispensable and what is the word I'm looking for? Like ethereal. Like there's no other animal that can contribute in terms of artistry and a soft magic and just kind of a real soft, beautiful, mysterious, artful thing. And it's just time to kind of be a strong rabbit and know that you have the strength to protect yourself, to not be prey to others that are a little bit more exploitative than you are. And to know as you walk into and through fears, to trust your boundaries, to trust yourself, to know who you let in, who you show yourself to. You need to take control of that and trust your intuition on it. Because you are a sensitive soul, you are someone, I think, that exploitative people is like they're like moth to flame to you. They know how to take advantage of, exploitative people know how to take advantage of soft people like you. And so it's a year as you show yourself more, as you reach for your dreams, as you find your confidence, to really trust your instincts and your intuition about your boundaries and who you let in and who you allow to know what and who you allow access to you or access to your work. So really trust your intuition there, because you are a very soft, gentle person that you've probably been taken advantage of before. So it was probably no surprise what I'm saying here. But it's a year you're going to have to put it out there, and that's a vulnerable thing for a sensitive soul to do. So yeah, I mean, be strong with your boundaries, trust your boundaries, but don't let them hold you back from reaching for your dreams, because they are incredibly within reach for you this year. And in a strong way, because this adds down to a 4 again, that 4 coming back. There's something so foundational and sturdy and strong about what you're about to reach for and put out and be seen for, that no one can take from you. There's something too solid that even if you are seen as prey in some ways, that is going to be met with great disappointment from your predators, because there's too much protection around you and too much strength around you right now. But I'm still going to say, trust your instincts and intuition around boundary needs. Okay. So now that we have this really large arc kind of energy of like what this year is bringing, what it's about, where you're starting and where you're going, I'm going to do 6 tarot cards to kind of drop into a little bit more up close context of your journey through the year. Okay. This card wants to come out. Okay, transformation. Fire, 5 of fire. Two of water. 10 of water. Those are beautiful. Shoot, I think I zoomed in a little too close in this frame, but we'll do our best to get all 6 in here. 4 of fire. Oh, I love that 4 coming through. And it's a good 4. Some of the 4s are more kind of a stuck energy and some are beautiful. This one's a beautiful 4. Eek! Well, these are going to be cut off a little. I'm sorry, I zoomed in too much on this frame. Page of fire. Lovely. Okay. Good enough? Yes, I think we can see them well enough anyway. Okay, so hold on 1 second. There we go. Okay, so starting the year, I have been dividing these into 3 parts depending on how the cards work together, and this is going to be pretty equal parts. So first third of year, second third of year, last third of year. These feel like they go together. Okay, so the first third of the year, this is going to be the time where you really let go of all those things that have layered onto you that have kept you small. This is a time where you are going to start to feel like I have a foundation under me, and I feel a level of solidity and security that's a little bit new to me. And it's giving me the courage to start to see these layers that have been caked onto me as a sensitive soul that have held me back from claiming what's mine, from shining, from putting myself out there in a bigger way, of letting my heart really be big and bold in the world and be a fierce kind of competitor that's very strategic and very daring and very willing to go for it and fight for what's mine. And so it's going to be, the first 4 months of the year, I think, are going to be really big in terms of just like stepping, like we've already talked about, stepping into and through these fears and really seeing some wins, seeing that you're made of so much more than you realized, and that if you put yourself out there, sure, there can be some knocks, there can be some competition, you may not win every single thing, but you can win and you can succeed and you can be seen for some amazing things that you've struggled to let people see about you. And it's this very, it's this huge time. It's like you're coming out of your shell, you're coming out of your little burrow, and you're showing just how much creativity and imagination and artistry you have, and more than anything, showcasing to yourself the power you contain, and that with just a little bit of daring and a little bit of effort, you can step into such a bigger place in your life, and such a bigger sense of recognition and star power and capability and wonder. And yeah, so it's going to be, you know, one part really tough to kind of find that confidence and boldness. Sensitive people tend not to like to feel so bold sometimes. But in this card, as we see, all of the squirrels are out, or I'm thinking of squirrels, all of the rabbits have come out of the burrow. It's like there's something that's cleared. There's something that is making them feel safe to just all be out. And that's you, all of your gifts. There's something safe right now for all of your gifts to just come out and be present and be visible. And I think as you've spent so much time squirreling resources away and strengthening your resources and strengthening your depth and your foundations, that like you're so protected right now because of all the squirrel work you did. The rabbits are safe. I don't know if that makes sense, but in this context, we'll go with it. The squirrels have made the rabbits safe. No, it's just that squirrel energy has made you so resourceful and organized and prepared and ready. And you're coming out as just like, okay, it's safe. I'm strong. I have what I need. I have very solid foundations and resources and organization, and it's time to show it. It's time to come out of the burrows. And show it. And that's what you're going to be playing with the first 4 months of the year, is being willing to be seen, being willing to show your gifts, being willing to share your creativity and reach for the dreams you have around these. And finding successes, finding wins, finding that it's not as difficult as you imagine it to be, or as or these delusions you may have about not being good enough or something. Like you're going to be shown that you are good enough, and that with a little effort on your part and a little courage on your part, so much can happen towards getting closer to your dreams. And it's just very transforming for you, really stepping into a new sense of courage and boldness. Okay, stepping into the second third of the year, we've got 2 of water and 10 of water. So we've got Cancer energy as well as Pisces energy, and in beautiful ways. And that's, again, doubling down on, and I like this match of the turquoise and the pink here. This is where your dreams start to flow. This is where you start to plug into your dreams and see that dreams are not just dreams. Dreams can become real. Dreams can start to manifest in your life when you put yourself out there, and starting to feel a sense of, just like flow with your life moving, your life coming into a new quality of composition and effortlessness and artfulness and soulfulness, and it's just like this willingness to put it out there, to put the sensitivity you have into the world in just like very beautiful ways, and coming from the depths as these fish, and like really aligning with your soul and the beauty of it, and recognizing and knowing the beauty of your soul, to coming above the water and showing yourself and recognizing like, wow, I have something like just really, really knowing I have something so special to give, and it feels so joyful to do so, and so concrete to do so. And I'm okay now with this big position I'm supposed to take in my life and in the world. Like, I feel comfortable. It's nowhere near as complicated, daunting, difficult, whatever, as I've delusionally imagined it to be. I can hold this place of being seen and showing myself and my dreams and my art so easily in all of the complexity it contains. And I'm seeing just how capable I am and how rare that is and how easy it is for me. And it's just, I don't know, everything just starts working for you near the end of the midpoint of the year. So what would that be? January, February, March, April, and then we start this May, June, July, August. So I feel like August especially, you're just going to be dropped into like, I've got this. Look what is happening. I've shown my skills. I've put effort towards my dream. I've put myself out there, and it worked. And it's so much easier than I thought. And then the last third of the year is like just alive. It's just electric for you. So much fire energy, sandwiching this beautiful water energy. I love your reading. This is so beautiful. Anyway, last third of the year, there's going to be something to celebrate, something very foundational, something that you establish about your sense of self, your unique you, your unique gifts, that is going to be recognized and celebrated, and it's going to provide you a foundation to stand on around your dreams and how you share, and the power you hold and can wield and can command, that just lights people up, and it lights you up, and it's just going to be celebrated. And you're just going to start to shine in a new way, but not in this egotistical way, in this way of just like so much feeling of passion and love in you to be able to share what's in you and have it be something that is taken in by the world or those that you're sharing with in such a positive way. And it's just going to feed you with more passion and more creativity and more to give and offer. And this beautiful symbiotic thing going on of you sharing and feeling that courage and boldness and strength that has sort of been missing in you, and it being accepted for as how beautiful it is, which then feeds you more and you give more. And just this loop of being able to give and having that feel so good, and others accepting, receiving what you give with so much gratitude, and it's just lifting you up. It's just creating, like, you're just stepping into your damn strength, you know? I don't know how else to say it. Like, the last 4 months of this year, you're just magic. You're on fire. You're being celebrated. Yeah. And then ending with the Page of Fire. I think a whole new persona, a whole new sense of self. It's like you're going to move from being a rabbit into a dragon. Or actually this beautiful... what do we have on here? We've got a tiger, a white tiger that's like glowing. We've got some sort of ethereal butterflies. Yeah, I mean, you rebirth by the end of the year with a new persona of being fierce and gentle all in one, of being an expressive butterfly, but with the fierceness and feline, sensual power of a tiger. You know, you have just as much expressive light, beauty as the butterfly as you do of this fierce, sensual, formidable power of a, not just a tiger, a white tiger, something very rare. You're really stepping into like a rare, amazing beauty that you are. And then there's also this full moon on this card too, of just like, you're just full. You just have so much imagination to give, so much creativity to give. And I really do see you transforming from that very sensitive, protective of self, fearful rabbit energy into this just very dynamic energy that is so soulful and poetic, and holds the whole spectrum of great lightness and sensitivity to that, feline fierceness. And just, it's like a whole new persona born within you to really, really step into yourself, step into what you can offer and who you are, and your dream version of you living in your dream world. It's a year to dream. You really need to plug into your dreams. What do you dream of? Catch yourself in your daydreams, catch yourself in your, even write about dreams. Just see what comes out, like really, and take them more seriously than just like these whimsical things, do something with these. Like, wow, it's just, I don't know. So much, feeling so much about all of this in like the best way. Okay, I'm going to pick some Celtic, sort of pagan-y cards to give a little bit of mysticism about these 3 different chapters, just adding a little bit more to the story. So heart center in the first third, connection, love, receiving. Allow yourself, as you put yourself out there, as you embolden yourself to step into and through your fears, really stay connected to doing this through your heart, for a sense of doing it because you love what you do, as an act of love to yourself and as an act of love of what you're giving, giving love to the world, wanting the world to receive your love. And we've already talked about people are going to be receiving your things so much deeper and more profoundly than you would have imagined, but you have to receive that back. You have to receive that they've received and loved what you're giving. In order to really step through that fire of transformation, you have to receive that back, that people are receiving you. And feel that and accept that. It's easy to receive, like if someone were to give you a gift and just be like, oh, thank you. Or even worse than that, like rabbit-wise, like I don't, oh, this is, I can't accept this. The next step is like, oh, thank you. But then the further step in what you're needing to do is to really receive it and be like, wow, you must have been listening to me when I was talking about blah, blah, blah. That's so amazing. I really appreciate that. That's such a lovely gesture and I honor it, kind of thing. Like really receive the way others are receiving you. Really take it in, because it's just going to plug your heart in and really connect you into that transformation that's trying to take place of you being good enough to be courageous, you being good enough to be seen and loved and feared and admired and respected and adored, whatever it is. Okay, second third of the year, We've got the Morrigan, power, courage, strength. Yes, this confirms to me that the second third of the year, you will have completed this transformation, and you will be seeing just how simple it is for you to sit in a place of power. You've been completely delusional about your capabilities, and it's like your confidence is just going to sink in here. Never in an ego, like I do not get any ego from you guys. It's not in this egotistical way. It's in this way of like, I am so excited that I can stand in my power because I have so much to give people from love. I love so much, and I'm so glad that I've found my power and strength, and it's and this love I have to give is being received, and this is such a potent, powerful, intimidating thing to the world, and to me it feels like the most simple, joyful, easy thing. And you're just like, yeah, I mean, your transformation is just like, whoa. You really, really step into this into your magic. Yeah, I don't know what else to say there. There's a lot I could say about the Morrigan, but I feel like I've said what needs to come through about her in this context in you. Yeah, okay. Last third of the year. Oh my gosh, you can't make it up. Dream, manifestation, plan, and be. That's it. I mean, what did I say? The last third of the year, you are going to be your dream self living in your dream world. So take those dreams seriously. You're manifesting. And I like that this is adding plan and be. So what is it that you want? What is your dream self and what is your dream world? Make some plans around it. Be them. Take them seriously. Write about them. Anchor them in. Be bold about them. This is huge. And yeah, you're going to be a completely, like, I know that, like in developmental psychology, it said that our personality, not our identity, personality and identity are a little bit different. Like our personality, our demeanor, stabilizes pretty early in our lives. The first, in the first 5 or so years, don't quote me on that, but I know it's early in the first several years. But with a lot of work, it takes a damn lot of effort, a damn lot of work, a damn lot of awareness and consciousness around it. But it's not impossible for persona and personality to change. And I think something is happening in you around that. I think some fears that aren't actually you were wired into you in your nervous system, maybe as far back as an infant, so you have no conscious recollection of why they're there. You just think of yourself as a nervous person for no particular reason other than that's your how you were born. But it's like you're getting this twofold, like some insight about your wiring and some insight about the way it's blocking you from the dreams of who you are supposed to actually be. And I think that discrepancy is coming in is because you weren't actually born fearful. There's something that happened with your, almost like your attachment. You can Google attachment theory. It's almost like there was some disorganization or instability around the way you attached to caretakers when you were little that created a lot of anxiety in you. And even if you don't have that specific type of insight, it's like there's some kind of insight coming through about where some fear may have come from in the earliest part of your life that you don't have like conscious memory of, and you're able to wash it out. You're able to step out of it, or maybe it's even just more organic, that you're recognizing more and more certain fears you have are things that could be overcome, and you just have to develop yourself. However it happens, you're having this capability this year of like really washing away some layers that aren't part of your DNA, around your persona and your personality, and you're stepping into a much stronger self, and a much more magical self, and a much more vibrant, passionate self that's bold about your sensitivity. And I'm not saying, I still do think you're sensitive souls, but when we are sensitive, it's easier to get these weird anxious layers on us, and it's just like you're overcoming those weird anxious layers, and your sensitivity is blossoming in just the most magical ways, because you know how to, it's like you've learned how to take care of your sensitivity and how to put it in environments and conditions where it thrives. And you know what that looks like, you know how it feels, so you know how to really be thorough and integral to that. Okay, let's look at some environments too around these 3 chapters. So flexibility, as you're going through this transformation, first third of the year. I love we have the tiger again coming through. As you're connecting to your expressing your love and being courageous enough to put your heart out there and really allow yourself to be received and receive back that you've been received, you're going to need to be really flexible with how you think about yourself, with how you find courage, with how transformation requires deep flexibility. If we go into transformations really brittle and stiff, we will shatter. So it's a time to really stay adaptable and observant, and just kind of seeing, I'm leaking here. Just seeing how as you take steps to embolden yourself and step into your power and be received and receive back, observe it, feel into it, be adaptable as new awarenesses and senses of courage and boldness are coming through. And I get, as I've talked about, like this thing of like actually changing something about some dynamic about your persona and personality, of course, that's going to require adaptability and flexibility, and it's starting from the very get-go this year. Okay, getting into, I love this, mid-year, when we have all of this water energy and you've really transformed, and you're seeing just how actually easy it is to sit in your power, and that you have some amazing abilities with holding power. It's this flow state. You're dropping into a flow state, and you're just in your power, and that strength just builds and it moves, and that courage is just entrenched in your heart, and your heart is just bold and moving, and you're surrendering into this all. And one thing I would say about sensitivity too, being a very sensitive soul, and this water energy coming in the second third of the year, something you may notice is you tend to take the shape of the containers you're put in, the environments you're in. And so you may get some really amazing insight about the right environments for you, because you sort of become aspects, take the shape of certain things. What do you want to take the shape of? And really noticing that. And putting yourself, like really understanding the power of being in the right environment for you to flow with more power and more courage and more openness and surrender. Okay. And ending the year in courage. Yeah, you got this. By the end of the year, it's just like you just know you become that magical, sensitive, creative force that holds the spectrum of beauty between the ethereal butterfly and the sensual lunar tiger. And you just know how to wield it at this point. You know what it's capable of. You know your power. You know your environments. You know, like that new sense of self. It just feels right. It feels strong. It feels like the you were always supposed to be before some layers of fears got caked on to that sensitivity within you. Okay, now we are gonna change up just a teeny bit. Let's see if I can move this wax first, though. Well, kind of, it's a little wet. And we are gonna look at the different sort of archetypes that this journey might bring out in you, which will probably give us even more clues as to how this journey is going to feel and what it's containing. Okay, first, third, alchemist. I love that. Transformation and alchemist, they match so well. So transformation of base motives and goals into golden wisdom. And I think this is like taking all of the pain and the fear and the things that have attached to your sensitivity that you know don't belong there and you're done with, taking them in to yourself and metabolizing them, breaking them down to their base elements and recycling them into this gold, into this fuel for where you're trying to go, what you're about to become. Yeah, it's just breaking down all of these layers that have been tough into fuel. I think that's how I'm feeling that. Ooh, I love this. Next to the more again, we have the femme fatale. Like you're really stepping into your power. Like, wow. Okay. So highlights the erotic energy of the feminine, opens your heart when your dependency is rejected. And so maybe that's also an element of you stepping into your power, is some facet of life that you've been a little bit dependent or codependent for support in, maybe disappears, or maybe you just decide on your own that you need to claim your power in and not feed off of some other support system. And it's just like it's this daring of really stepping into body and really opening heart, and really it's like the power of attraction, of seduction. It's very scorpionic power of like knowing. This is like identifying and all of a sudden recognizing after you've done this transformation of what your power is, and starting to play with what kind of magnetic and attractor forces it has and what it can do for you without hardly any effort. And stepping into a boldness with it, a sensuality with it, a seductiveness with it, really playing with it. So yeah, like really understanding that dark, fertile, rich energy of the yin, of the ability to both destroy aspects of life and let aspects of life decompose in order, like alchemy and like transformation, in order to release energy and life force and clear out blocks and leaks, and really identify what your power resource is, and knowing strategically how to use that to draw you know, to manifest and draw things to you, because you kind of know how to share it in a way that that empowers you, but that also draws in the resources of other things in exchange, with sort of precision. And yeah, it's like a magnetism, like you're really knowing how to step into your magnetism with your power and your creative gifts. Okay, the last third, we've got detective. Great powers of observation and intuition. Desire to seek out the truth. That's beautiful too. Yeah, I mean, this is more scorpionic energy. All three of these are scorpionic energy. Alchemy, that femme fatale, and the detective. I think this detective energy is you really uncovering the truth of who you are, really pulling at those threads and those mysteries that have always eluded you, to see yourself much more wholly and fully, and being able to, any last bits of kind of mystery about your sensitivity, about fears you hold, about your own power, really getting to the heart of this, really unraveling the truth of who you are. So this new persona and this new sense of personality that's stabilizing in you, that's becoming core, that is just now you, it has always been you. It's not new, it's actually just you with these weird layers stripped away. And so it's like the last third of the year, you just do those. Like, you've already done so much work of developing who you want to be and understanding how to wield your power and what your power is, and the courage to be seen for it and share it. But like the last third of the year is like these teeny little weird things that have eluded you. It's like you get to the heart of, you just like fully see the truth of your power and who you are and your personality, your persona. It's like you really nail down with solidity who you are. Very cool. Okay, a couple more cards for these little thirds that we've broken into. Peace. I love this coming through because this first third of the year with the transformation and really facing your fears has felt like, yeah, you're really going to have to step into it and be bold. But I love seeing peace come through here, that actually it's not going to be, there's some illusion, you know, there's just so many layers I think that you hold of illusion. Like as you start to do this transformative work and stepping into courage and boldness and being seen and whatnot, and that it's like those first moments of like having to muster the courage to just be assertive about it are the hardest part. Like once you actually put something in motion, you are going to be like, oh my gosh, there's nothing to this. This is so peaceful and easy, and I deserve this, and I deserve to be here, and I deserve to be received and receive that receiving. And it just actually ends up being such an easy and peace-bringing process to go through this transformation, which just tells me you're just like ready. This isn't something you're going to have to force. It takes some courage, but it's just like, I feel like you're just ready. You're like, yeah, this is where I'm going. This is probably no surprise to you if you've come to this reading. Like, yeah, I feel really ready. It's like time for me to put myself out there. It's scary, but the minute you do it, it's like, oh, this is just, there's nothing to this. This is actually a very peaceful thing for me. And it's creating a lot of peace for me to do this, even though it's initially like hard to put it out there. Okay, second third of the year, message in a bottle. I think you're going to have a lot of help with this, and we get more water energy here. These were the 2 water cards. And this was talking about environments too, understanding the kinds of environments and containers of you put yourself in. And I think as you do that, as you get more refined and more understanding of the need to have really environments that really foster your thriving and create flow in you. I think that as you get into those flow states and really drop into this sensual power of and it's like a power of like knowing that you've detonated part of your life to feed off of and release some energy that's been stuck. And it's like all of these messages start flooding you, both from your own body, your own power, but also feedback you're getting from spiritual sources, from synchronicities, from serendipities. I think they're coming from all over the place. And it's when you're in these flow states and really accepting of and owning and honoring your power and your sensuality, it's just like messages just coming and coming and coming that are just confirming and feeding and contextualizing just how magnificent you are, and how easy and joyful this all can be for you. And then the last third we have by the book. And yeah, it's sort of like, I feel like up until this point, you've not had a lot of guiding compasses or mentorship or modeling of knowing how to do anything, which has made your sense of self maybe very nebulous to you and hard to feel anything concretely about who you are, where you're going. And it's like once you get to this last third of the year, all these layers you've stripped, all this transformation you've gone through, all this power you've owned that's always been there and stabilized within you and started to wield, you drop, when you drop into that thing of just like really knowing who you are now and really understanding your persona and allowing yourself to be celebrated and living your dream, it's all of a sudden you have a compass and you know your direction. There's now something, it's like something concretizes in your world through stabilizing something about your persona that allows you to now identify models and mentors and trajectories and what it is you're trying to do with your life. And I totally, I relate to a lot of this. I always do my own readings, so I don't put myself into readings, but, so I have my own thing I've done for myself. But there's so much in this that I can relate to about you guys. And what I would say is just like when you have a really sensitive personality, it's so easy to be influenced and confused about things. And so I'm just like really happy for this pile of like, because I think I've done a lot of, I know what this is because I've done this. It took me most of my life. I think it was only maybe a year ago I feel like I kind of got to this. So I'm just like feeling really happy for you guys of like ending 2023 in this place of like really understanding yourself on such a deeper level, which allows you to have much more clear knowing of where you're going and what you want and how to find the right modeling for that. So you don't have to do it alone or, create the wheel kind of thing. Okay, we're gonna get some little messages for each of these thirds as well. Little feather angelic messages. They're feather messages, but I always relate that to angels too. So Ren, be bold and confident. Use all of your resources to create your dreams. Yeah, so just be bold. I think you're already there. I think you already know this listening to this. Like, yeah, I know it's time. It's time to, it's time to be bold about my dreams. Okay. White Owl, the wisdom and messages of the divine are within you. Message in a bottle. We already talked about it. I think messages are within you, and I think messages are also going to arrive to you also. And then the last one, we've got Blackbird. The magical and unique qualities of your untapped potential are unfolding now. I mean, you can't make this up, you guys. This is exactly what we've been talking about, is like, there's so many things in you that are already you that have just been covered in these weird layers of fears and confusion, and you're getting rid of it all, and you're really seeing your magic and all this untapped stuff that you've known was in there that's been a mystery, and you've had to be a detective to really get to the truth of. Like, by the end of this year, it's unfolding. It's amazing. I love this reading so much. Okay, last we are going to do a plant ally message for the year, and these are balance messages that show through the plant ally that's picked patterns that will present themselves when you are living in balance, and patterns that will present themselves when you are living out of balance. Okay, sorry, I'm going to do this plant over. I'll edit out. I had something that disturbed my filming, so I'm going to have to do this over. But just this card going forward, so if there's a weird transition, I apologize about that. Okay, so you got the yarrow plant, which shows where you have patterns of patterns that will show up if you're living out of balance this year, and patterns that will show up to indicate when you are living in balance. And so I had already started this, and this is crazy. So patterns that will show up when you're not in balance are extreme vulnerability to others and to the environment. I mean, right? We've already gone over this. This is crazy. Like, you really need to understand that sensitivity you have, that it is a vulnerability that requires you to be in right environments. So easily depleted, overly absorbent of negative influences and psychic toxicity. So I can't stress it enough, this coming through, of how important it is that your environments support you, cultivate thriving, that they create spaces where you feel your ability to flow, because you have very porous boundaries. So if you're in negative environments, you suck that in, you become your environment. So you want to be in environments that you want to become. Okay, patterns that you will see when you are living in balance. Luminous and strong auric field, compassionate and inclusive sensitivity, refined and flexible psychic forces. So beautiful. So beautiful. Okay, last card we're going to do is a blessing for your year from Quan Yin, which is a goddess of compassion. And I'm going to be reading from the book on this one. And it's about, usually her messages are about a page. So just to warn you, buckle up for just a couple minutes with that. And we have Veil of Shadows, number 43. Okay, your soul lotus is blossoming. Totally, I get that. Just like a plant that outgrows the pot in which it has been planted and requires more soil to spread its roots and continue growing, your soul lotus needs some more mud, some more water and earth energy so that it can grow and shine. In the spiritual world, all things serve, everything, including our darker emotions and parts of our body that we may not think are acceptable. And this is the alchemy that has been talked about, transformation. It's needing to take the things that are painful, that are toxic, that are negative, break them down to the baser aspects of themselves in order to feed us, to feed and release energy to evolve and change and use that to create gold. Okay. They are actually good nourishment for your soul. The soul craves to love and be in love with all parts of you. Like a passionate divine lover, it wants to hold nothing back and become completely spiritually intimate with all aspects and all parts of you, whether you have thought they were lovable or not. This can be challenging because it can feel extremely uncomfortable to visit and consciously engage with those aspects of our personality and our bodies that we have yet to really love and accept. Yet this is what you are guided to embrace now. This process might be started by taking a class or engaging in a physical practice that honors the shadow part of you. If you have considered yourself an introverted person, it might be to begin to honor the counter side of this, the part that needs community and people in order to thrive. If you consider yourself a quiet person, you might need to explore how you can find joy through sound, music, and energy, for example. If you consider yourself a passionate person, you could benefit from finding the part of you that is peaceful and content in the moment with the things exactly as they are right now. This inner play isn't about saying that who you are now is not enough. It is about acknowledging that you are the thing you believe you are not, and finding a way to live it with consciousness and love. It is about delving into the parts of you that have been hidden in a veil of shadows and are now becoming ready to be revealed and lived as part of the beautiful and whole being you are in truth. You guys, you can't make this up. This was nuts. But I love like the beautiful message that's overlaying this as like the parting words of wisdom here. In particular, this oracle asks you to look at where you can nourish your emotional and physical life with more focus, perhaps through art, creativity, journaling, and your dreams, creating collages or engaging in dance or other forms of movement. Your spirit needs it to thrive at this time. Wow, there you go. This is such a magical journey that you guys are going through this year. So powerful, so big. I think although it's going to take a lot of courage and effort to bring that courage out of you, it's going to be so much easier than you ever dreamed. And you're going to end up living your dream if you really follow through with this and do your due diligence with it. So yeah, I mean, good luck. This is a really gorgeous journey for 2023. So all the luck to you guys, all the best wishes. And yeah, if this resonated, I always appreciate the things, the thumbs up, the little comments, and of course subscriptions. So I hope to see you guys in more readings. This is where I'm going to leave you.